quite. On the plus side, the costs for espers are random and they're repeatable, so you might find some reusable nukes or Fenrirs, who knows?
Yeah, repeatable Esper usage is a huge flag. That does make, yeah, example like you said, Fenrir, extremely usable, especially in the final Kefka fight, because then you can use it on every single phase and really kind of cut down a lot of that damage that you'd take in like phase 1 and phase 2, and of course in phase 3 with the calmness.
Precisely. Well, we've already seen that Zelfer has discovered that Old Man number 1 has his normal lore skill set and has Quasar, which is a decent spell. Hooray!
Yeah, it definitely was a nice find when I was going down the list too, because you're looking at it, it's like, well, Condemned, well, that one's not usable. Level Unknown Pearl, not really usable either, but you see Quasar, that one definitely is usable.
It's basically a better version of the Meteor spell.
Yes, it definitely is, and I believe it's also probably graphically quicker as well, because the downside of Meteor is it takes forever.
They're about the same length. Meteor isn't as long of a spell as you think it is. It only feels long because the damage is kind of underwhelming. That
Yeah.
Quasar and Meteor are about the same length. You know, a vortex opens up and then some rocks fly around. They're very similar spells, but Quasar is definitely better.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, true. It's one of those I've never actually gone through and timed all of the individual spells. Like, as you knew, Flare does seem to take a year and a half to get through.
It does take the better part of one's childhood to cast a Flare spell, yes.
But I've never actually gone through and kind of, granted, because how often do you have Quasar, but I've never kind of gone through and checked, like, Meteor and some of those. Most of the time, it's like, okay, well, I've got Fire 3, Ice 3, Bolt 3, I'll use those because those are by far the quickest to cast.
Bolt 3 is the fastest of all the spells.
Is it really? I did not know that. Good to know.
Yep, Bolt 3 is the fastest spell. It's just a lightning bolt and done.
Yep.
It's almost as quick as a physical strike.
So there you go. If everybody who did not know that. So well, it looks like we got pretty much everybody doing the same kind of checks, going in and doing the beginner's house, kind of those standard pre-checks that we see everybody kind of do. Looks like Ventizi's going to do a reset out because I guess he forgot that one chest is a boss or a monster chest. Yeah, for anybody who's running that, those chests, the chest that's in that first room is always going to be a boss, or not a boss, but a random encounter.
Well, I think Ventizi was actually fishing for one of the good monster in the boxes because he did use the save point right next to it beforehand.
Oh, okay. Did not catch that. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you can find a Katana Soul there.
Yeah, I mean, early offering could be nice depending on what weapons that our players end up with. Looks like we've got a pretty identical route of looting going so far. Narsh into the Returner's hideout.
Yep.
Nice thing about Narsh that both of our runners found, you can buy some warp stones there.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep, something you always want to pick up in the beginning. It saves so much time. There's so many checks where if you have to walk out, it eats probably a good 30 seconds. Warping out, nice, quick, to the point.
Uh-huh.
But I would expect them pretty soon to be going to do, so they're doing the Returner's hideout now. I know South Figaro is kind of getting some splits. Some people don't like double dipping into South Figaro. I know I personally will always go through, even if I don't have Celeste, to go get all the checks there in South Figaro.
There certainly is a lot of treasure and shops available there if you feel like you need something to start out. Usually in a seed where you start with the grumpy old men, you probably do want to do some looting before you go check hunting, as neither of them have any checks that are particularly prominent with loot, really.
Yeah, definitely not. And the other thing is, like, with all of Strago's checks, I mean, they're not great. Strago probably has some of the worst checks in the game, in my opinion. Just because all of them pretty much require either forced encounters or going up Phoenix or going up Fanatic's Tower, which nobody really likes doing. You have Elbit's Rock, but that one's kind of, if you're lucky, it's really quick. If not, it seems to take forever.
Yep. No one likes Strago. Strago is probably the least popular character in a randomizer. Which is funny because Umaru exists.
Yeah, and he's not even a bad character. Like, I mean, if his checks weren't as bad, I would be like, all right, well, the old man maybe isn't the greatest caster, but he's not horrible. But his checks are just what make him so bad, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But
well, we've got some hopeful shuriken pickups for Zelfer at the weapons store here in South Figaro. Ben Teasy also into South Figaro to do some looting here.
Yep. I'm gonna be interesting to see if they go to Albrook. I forgot what we named it last Friday. The Albrook effect, where after that one seed we had the Illumina in Albrook, and now everybody always goes and checks all the chests in Albrook, hoping there's gonna be one there. We named that the Albrook effect because there is some checks or some runners will just be like, I always go here, even if it only has 2 or 3 checks, just because one time there was an Illumina and I missed it. So.
Well, I don't think you can let that sully your judgment. I'm one of the runners who, in a fairly large race, missed the Illumina in the beginner's house because I never go there, and I have not changed my ways.
See, that's a ballsy check to not do, because you're right there. That's why I always do it, because I'm like, well, I'm right here, and the lone wolf is right here, nice and quick.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I have characters, I want to go do their checks. Like, depending on the characters I start with. Like, if I start with Locke, like, I'm not even going to land in the World of Balance. I'm going right to the World of Ruin if I start with Locke. If I start with Terra, I'm going right to the Sealed Gate because there's a boatload of treasures there.
Yeah, I think with Terra, that one's a little bit different just because, yeah, there is so many checks. That's basically our version of the Armory from Free Enterprise, where it's just like, well, I've got this character. I'm going to go right away to there and get all of those checks to see what I have. Yep. But looks like everybody's doing pretty much the same path, although it looks like Zelfer is down in the basement as well, so pretty much standard routing, which is what we normally do see. And yes, there is I believe they did find the fixed dice that was down here in South Figaro, which is going to help quite a bit early game.
Well, when you have nothing else, the dice are an okay option. They are unreliable, though.
Yeah, but I mean, in this seed, you've ran this seed. They are going to be used quite a bit.
Maybe. It depends on how you go about it. Like, the seed has the potential to be quite quick, but you have to do some counterintuitive things to make it happen.
Oh, for sure. And that's kind of like the odd thing about this seed is that, like you said, you have to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Here we see Zelfer getting trolled a little bit by that Ultros person. I believe all the NPC, like, most of the soldiers got replaced by Ultros. That's why you see Ultros is running all over the place here.
Yep, it's a very octopus-themed seed. Octopus and gambling.
Yes.
So, our flag creator was probably on some good stuff when he came up with these settings.
Yeah, and just looking, so this seed is, like we said, is going to be kind of on the longer end of things, too, just because we do have 777. But yeah, there's a lot of octopus going around. It looks like everybody's going up to check that man in the woods. We see clearly the World of Balance guy is not the one to go to, charging 44,000 gold for that shiny stone of his, so probably going to go check the World of Ruin.
It could cost more in the World of Ruin, you never know.
But it's one of those things you just wouldn't jump into 44,000 at the beginning. I would probably go check World of Ruin first to see, okay, what is he charging in the World of Ruin for it?
I'd just suck it up and sell some stuff and buy it, because if I'm checking the other guy, that's, 30 seconds of leaving town, flying the airship, flying to the other town, walking back to the thing. Just pay the money.
Yeah. So one thing also to consider, I believe we had no breakable rods turned on, no breakable shields, and no super balls. So you're not going to find any of those in the shops either. So that's really going to try their skills in the early game.
Yep, certainly could. I mean, we have found a couple rods from chests so far and an ice shield. So those could definitely be useful. And Zelfer did pick up an experience egg in Thameza, so that helps power your characters up a little bit.
Yep, experience eggs are a huge find to pick up. Especially because, the other flag we do have going is that split XP is turned on. So normally we would race with no split XP. So if a boss gives 1,000 XP, every single character gets 1,000 XP. But for this flag, 4 characters, 1,000 XP. Each character only gets 250 experience. So EXP eggs will really kind of help speed up the seed a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got Zelfer into World of Ruin South Figaro now. There's an ice shield in the pot. Looking for some other purchasables.
Yep, not finding too much in the relic shop there.
Pearl Rod will certainly help at some point.
Yep, I think there was a Thunder Rod somewhere as well. I don't know if they picked that up yet either. But still, everybody kind of doing the standard shopping, though, at the beginning.
Well, there's not much to buy, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't suppose there was an Atlas armlet at the shop that Ben Teasy just went to.
Yep, another decent pickup. It'll be interesting to see who does what as their first check, though. Logically, I think you'd probably go to Doma Castle, World of Balance Doma, just to see who's there. I don't expect too many people to go to... I mean, you might also go to Mount Zozo and World of Ruin.
I would say Mount Zozo is the obvious place to start, since you do have warp stones and there's no forced battles. I mean, the downside to that is you might double dip the dragon, which might not be best for some people, but it's not the longest walk to get back there, and early on, you need something to get going so you have some way to win your fights.
Yep, and I believe, like someone said in the chat, Mount Zozo does have a few chests in it as well. I think it probably has the most checks out of all of the ones that are available. Burning House, I think, only has 2 chests in it. Elbit's Rock has 0. Fanatic's Tower, I think, has 3, but you don't want to do Fanatic's Tower.
Fanatic's Tower has 6 treasures. There's 4 treasure rooms. There's the treasure at the top, and then there's the secret treasure in the air anchor room.
Oh, that's right. I always forget about that one up there.
Well, that's the good treasure. That comes from the good treasure pool, always at the top of the tower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guess I'll have to start remembering to go to. Is that the one that's in the room with where the boss is, where like you go and check the chest and you walk out?
Yes. Yeah.
I normally do try to grab that one.
Yeah, that chest is always from the good item pool.
So it looks like everybody's still just going around doing their shopping, picking up everything they can. We see Zelfer's now in Albrook as well.
Yep. Pretty laid back beginning so far here.
Yep, still just doing the standard shopping like we expect.
Yep.
We probably won't see, and this is pretty common for most seeds. Normally about the first 15 minutes of the seed is normally pretty commonly to be shopping. You want to make sure you've got enough stuff to really get you through the beginning of the seed and not have too much struggles. Which I think they do.
At times. Sometimes you'll start with a couple of overpowered commands and be able to go fight bosses right away. If you have a character that starts with Blitz, you're usually good to fight a boss at level 3. Depending on the boss scaling, of course.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into kind of like when you can do your first check, but I do notice that it is pretty commonplace for most runners to kind of do the standard shopping opener, I guess is what I'll call it, to kind of like hit the routine cities that everybody normally hits, things like that. So it looks like, okay, he's gonna get him up, please. I thought Ben TZ was gonna take the jump into Elbit's Rock, but not looks like just, I mean, he possibly might go there since he's already over here. It wouldn't be a bad idea to go do. But we'll have to look and see if that's what he decides to do.
Well, hunting for stuff right now. Looks like Ben TZ's primarily trying to find some way to do offense here, mostly checking weapon and item shops here.
Yep.
Well, there's the experience egg for Ben TZ.
So let's see.
Zelfer's going to the Coliseum. Okay.
Yeah, Zelfer did this. I know Fraggle had some of these strats where he started trying to go into the Coliseum, just because most of the time you can go in there, mash A, and get it done pretty quick, and just offer up like an eye drop, and can possibly get some really strong stuff. So, it's risky, but sometimes it pays off really high. Especially if you got a fixed ice that can really put out some damage in the beginning, and you don't get one shot.
Yeah, just have to kind of wait and see if it pays off, I suppose, here. I mean, another thing about the seed, too, is that equipment restrictions are in play to some effect, so if you find some nice gear, you might not necessarily be able to use it either. We've got Ben Teasy trying the Burning House.
And finds the worst enemies to find. This is really what gave me the most difficulty with the seed, is these Ogres. And there's Zombite. I had to go buy probably 21 remedies to deal with those guys, because even though I could run, they still would get 1 or 2 Zombites off.
Yep, and as you just saw there, Zombite's a quick way to eat a game over.
Yep.
Wonder if Bentisi will try the house again, or will perhaps search for some greener pastures.
And I do see everybody in the chat saying, yeah, smoke bombs are everywhere. You can't always run from them. But sometimes you just get unlucky where, like, your run doesn't trigger in time, and they get a Zombite or 2 off. I had one Ogre by himself cast 3 Zombites in a row and wipe my team. Oh, and then unfortunately Zelfer gets a zombie status too.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Well, not really finding anything interesting at this Coliseum is Zelfer.
Yeah, see, this is kind of one of the risky parts with the Coliseum, is that it's either going to pay off really huge or it's going to eat up a lot of time, and it's really impossible to tell. Unlike with most of the others, like the other, obviously, other checks, we've kind of started being able to, like, have some risk reward and, like, scaling, like, okay, this check is pretty quick, so even if it results in nothing, it's not that big a loss if I do it. Unlike a strategy with, like, Coliseum, where you could put a lot of time in and just find nothing.
Yeah. Well, it is a gambler's seed after all.
Yeah, he is living it up to the seed's name. I really hope we find Gao and he has, like, triple or double slot again after that last seed not too long ago.
Well, I think you are actually thinking of this race.
No, remember there was a seed a few weeks ago where we ran into Gao and he had double slot rolled.
Oh. No one likes that.
Yeah, I mean, Gao is one of my favorite characters, and that just hurt my heart to see. It looks like Zelfer's gonna keep going back into the Coliseum.
He's got a handful of consumables to try to fish for something better.
Yep.
We've got Bentisi almost at the top of Mount Zozo.
Yep, he's making...
Are you prepared for some disappointment, Classy?
I mean, this seed kind of at the beginning was a lot of disappointment, so... But that is what I'm going to call foreshadowing for everybody watching tonight. So... It looks like Zelfer's kind of getting lucky with these Coliseum battles. Since he's so low level, obviously the enemies get scaled as well. So a lot of them can't even cast half the spells that they have.
Yeah, those Slam Dancers are actually quite deadly whenever you normally get to Zozo and Vanilla, but if their level's this low, they can't cast their level 2 spells.
But he does get put to sleep by them. Oh, but it misses. I was going to say, but he does get put to sleep. But yeah, here you can see he's pretty much going through every single item, and I'm wondering how many tries he's going to go for until he just kind of gives up and gets out of there.
Yeah, hard to say. Revivify for some darts. I mean, that's actually a pretty decent exchange if you're willing to do it a few times. You could farm some money pretty quickly.
Definitely could. He ends up going against the Spectre and just getting bolt and kill Strago instantly, so no luck there.
Well, just a guard here, so that one's a much easier win. For a Magus Hat.
Did Bentisi mean to take on the Ice Dragon, or was this an unfortunate circumstance?
No, it looks like Bentisi's willing to give the dragon a try here, and with some breakables in tow, why not? Try to avoid having to double dip the mountain.
Yeah. And to be fair, Ice Dragon's the best one to see there. And it looks like he's got ice shields, he's got one ice shield on, so that's going to really help take down the damage.
Yeah. Snap a Thunder Rod, snap a Pearl Rod, and roll some ineffective dice, and maybe that'll do it.
See, you just must have bad luck with the dice, because I routinely will get like 9,000 damage out of them, so maybe you're just an unlucky dice roller.
No, I think it's the opposite. The dice are usually very bad. An offering helps offset it a bit, but they're still extremely unreliable.
I do know that you and Mr. E tend to be the sniper team, so
we've got a Gambler Magicite coming here. Except no, Ice Dragon is going to use some more North Cross. Everyone's favorite move.
So I thought Frozen it does not instantly annihilate your party. I thought technically you could just wait there.
In this case, it's probably faster to reset, honestly, because it can take over a minute for it to thaw without getting hit by a fire spell.
Yep.
I mean, with the ice shield on, it's highly unlikely that Bentisi would have lost the fight. But when you're spending a minute doing no damage, might be better to just try a reset and go for a quicker kill.
Okay, and that's what it looks like he did. Yeah, I mean, I thought I was correct. I know the chat's agreeing that technically you could just wait through it. It felt like after he put that much time into it, to like, okay, do I just stick it out or do I put that much time into it again to take a second crack at it? But looks like he's gonna take a second crack at it.
And Zelfer's going to try to get this muscle belt trade again here.
Yep, gonna take advantage of those if he can get them, which not a bad item to get this early on.
And he's got a Strago who's trying to cast a spell he doesn't have the MP for.
Ouch.
Absolutely
and he gets petrified.
Dreadful.
Here comes the Northern Cross again for Bentisi. Let's see who best be frozen. Okay, it looks like Mog or Strago is not. That's good at least. I still think that's one of the best lines that's in there. You'd best be frozen. And he takes the Ice Dragon down with a good Pearl Rod there, so.
Done and done. That's one Durgan down for Bentisi.
Only 6 more to go.
Yeah, no need to double dip inside of Mount Zozo here.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Strago's going to learn some magic for his troubles.
It'll be interesting, and picks up an Illumina for it. That's a big pickup this early.
Unfortunately, neither of these characters can use the Illumina.
It's that ultimate womp, like that moment right there where you go to equipment after picking an Illumina and see nobody can equip it. You're just like womp womp.
Oh, the Illumina will get its use at some future point in this seed.
There's got to be one character who can use it.
I believe characters' natural equipment is on, so
Okay.
Terra, Celes, Edgar, and Locke could all use the Illumina.
And like Mystery said, there is snipers available. I seem to have terrible luck with snipers. Like, they never proc for me. I will go like 8 attacks and get like 1 proc, and then meanwhile I watch other runners who get like 5 procs if they have like offering Genji Glove on them. I'm like, how? How did you get that many?
Snipers will only proc against floating targets.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Well, to be fair, at least half of the enemies and bosses in the game
are
floating, which is why Sniper is such a great weapon. But if you're using it on something without the float status, it's still better than most weapons because it has a replacement effect, which is just randomly deal double damage just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's those throw procs that where the big damage comes because it just straight up procs Shadow's throw ability.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, and I think quite a few bosses, even in Kefka's tower, have floating, don't they, on the actual tower phase?
Everything except for the first tier in the final battle is floating.
Which makes sense because they're all kind of floating in the air, so.
Yeah. they're also, for the most part, all human targets in the final battle, so Man-Eater's a great weapon to use there as well.
Completely agree there, yeah. If you can find a Man-Eater, those can put out quite a good bit of damage. Von Marlin is saying quite a few enemies are not immune to float as well, so you can actually class float on them. It's one of those things, like, I've noticed across a lot of different Final Fantasy randomizers and everything like that, there's a lot of bosses who you can tell the programmers never thought of you'd ever being able to have this spell this early, and they can just die to a lot of things or get cast a lot of things on them that, like, well, why would you ever cast float on an enemy? Well, because I have snipers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in original Final Fantasy, I mean, you can just cast Quake on anything. I mean, there's like a 3 in 256 chance that it'll work, but you can one-shot anything in the first Final Fantasy with Quake if you're lucky enough.
Oh, see, that's one of the next randomizers that's on my list to start learning how to race is Final Fantasy 1 randomizer. Because I've always said, like, original SNES randomizers are very skill-intensive, but also have some of the wildest RNG you will see. Like, Final Fantasy 1 randomizer has a lot of stuff like that, and also, like, the Dragon Warrior series has a lot of stuff like that, where it's just, like, wild stuff happens.
Yep.
Fraggle, I know you're telling me to not do it, but I have got to be able to run the entire Final Fantasy series. Someone needs to build a Final Fantasy 2 and 3 randomizer.
That is definitely true. Well, Ice Dragon down for Zelfer as well at the cost of a couple breakables, and Bentisi is battling Umaro in World of Balance Doma in an attempt to recruit Shadow. Triple 3 roll on the dice is going to do it, so Shadow is obtained for Bentisi.
You're right, Mr. Nitty. That is like the entire premise of Final Fantasy III. One day, some random people fell into a hole and found a crystal. There's a reason why I don't think that one came over to the United States.
Yeah.
But here we see, yep, Zilfer finishing that up. He's also going to be disappointed when he gets up to the top of that tower.
Yep.
Or to the top of that mountain.
Yeah, it's probably one of the worst item, if not the worst item in the good item pool, the Genji helmet. Nothing special about that helmet at all.
No.
I guess it sells for a good 10K, but yeah,
and it's
that's
better
about
than
it.
nothing. I mean, if you have someone who can equip it and you don't have anything else, I mean, it's usable.
Helmets are really underwhelming in this game. Basically, wear a red cap or a cat hood, or don't bother. Well, I guess Green Beret gives you an HP bonus too. But yeah, the stats on helmets are just so minuscule; they hardly matter.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there obviously is some helmets that are obviously clearly better than others, but I'll put them on if I have them. I was like, oh, I'll double check, but
yeah. Well, looks like Benteezy's gonna head back to World of Balance Narsh for a moment here, and Zelfer is gonna try World of Balance Doma. So we're seeing pretty similar paths between the two of them so far. Difference being Zelfer gambled on the Coliseum for a little while.
Yep. Pretty soon, though, I think I think it's pretty safe to say they are all gonna avoid Kefka's Tower. Or not Kefka's Tower, Fanatic's Tower. It'll just be interesting to see if one of them does check to see, okay, is there a character first before going to the other Strago checks. But Zelfer does find Shadow there at Dome Castle, though.
Yep. Shadow can use that sniper he picked up. That's actually quite nice.
So, yep, we'll have to
so
see.
Zelfer has a pretty good weapon early on here from fishing at the Coliseum for a few minutes, so nothing wrong with that.
And it looks like Benteezy's not too far behind him to go do that check as well.
Benteezy's already beaten.
Oh, did he already do it? Did I miss it? Oh, I'm sorry, I was typing in chat and I missed it.
You're completely zoned out there, class.
I am. We're too busy talking about other great
Lava Land.
We're too busy talking about other great SNES era RPGs that came out. I got distracted. It truly is amazing just how many great RPGs did come out for the Super Nintendo when you go back and look. Between the Super Nintendo and the Super Famicom, like how many great ones did come out?
Oh, there's definitely quite a few good ones.
There's even there's so many good Super Famicom only ones that if you have translation software and everything that are really great. Like Bahamut Lagoon's so good, Treasure Hunter G and a whole bunch of them, and then even the ones that did come to the US, we have a lot of great ones.
Yeah, but the translating stuff is just way too much work.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There is an amazing, I will say, translation patch community out there that you can find. Yeah. And we got Zelfer taking on Umaru currently. He should make quick work of this fight. Quasar doing a good chunk of damage. Yep. Come on, Crusader. No, let's not see another Crusader proc again.
Well, Benteezy picks up an Esper inside the Dream. Tease of an Esper teaches Fire 3, and nobody can use it.
Yeah, that was one of the things that hurt me. I saw that. I was like, oh, look at it. Fire. Oh, never mind. Meanwhile, it looks like Benteezy is going to go into the Doma Dream.
For sure, yep. And this is something I always have to point out. That first chest, all you have to do is hit the button twice, and it'll open the box right next to you. No need to walk all the way around.
What's funny is you say that, because in my seed where I did this, I remembered you said that, and I did it, and I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, there you go. 5 seconds saved. Enjoy.
Alright, but yep, he'll be, again, unfortunately, let down when he gets through this check as well.
Well, already knows that it is not a character inside of the Dream.
Yeah.
Umaru down for Zelfer.
So he will have his shadow checks available to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's pretty obvious to go to Gao's dad's house for the freebie, especially when it's just due north of where you're at right now. Beyond that, we'll just have to see what Zelfer elects to do next.
Yeah, because I don't see too many people probably doing floating continent, just because that is a long check to do.
Well, there's 3 locations, however.
True.
So there is incentive to do the floating continent.
There is, yeah. I don't want to say there's no incentive to it. You just have to be careful, like, or not careful, I don't want to say, but like, you have no idea what those 3 bosses could be, and it's a lot harder to go all the way through it and then get stuck on the last boss than to have one and be able to quit out basically and say, I'll come back to it later.
Yep.
So,
well, there's the unicorn Esper picked up for Zelfer, putting him up to 2.
I don't believe Unicorn had anything very useful for casting on it, if I remember correctly.
I couldn't tell you because when Bentisi checked it, nobody could use it.
Yeah, that's the other thing we ran into a lot, so it's like, oh, unfortunate.
Well, we've got a Dataluma here for Bentisi, opening with a level 4 flare. This could be catastrophic,
Nice.
But no, he
Dodges
is
it.
not level 4. There's another underwhelming die roll from Cyan. Getting a bit of damage out with the 7 flush. Ice 2 from Strago being used in lieu of Quasar. Not as strong, but definitely cheaper and faster. Triple bar for Shadow.
What's he gonna
it's
get?
gonna be a bookmark.
Okay. Always waiting for that Crusader to come through. Let's see where Zelfer is off to this time. Probably gonna go down and get that free heal. Another thing that a lot of people I don't see use is that free heal that you get down here. I use it all the time.
It depends on where you're at. The fastest way to heal is to land at World of Ruin Narsh and go use the bucket in the training hall.
Yep, I'll do the training hall beginner's house bucket as well. That one's pretty quick too, but
well, Zelfer's off to the World of Ruin.
is he going to Elbit's Rock? It looks like, yep, he is going to go dive into Elbit's Rock.
Ebbets Rock.
Ebbets Rock, yeah, that's right. There's no L in there. I can read good. I always seem to get trolled when I go to Ebbets Rock. I always end up like, literally one time I stepped on the tile at the beginning and it took me back to the beginning like 4 times. I was like, come on now.
It's an awful, awful place to be.
It really is.
Well, Zelfer's gonna go ahead and do it.
You kind of have to. I mean, you're going to want to try avoid the burning house
Look at
and...
Bentisi's Cyan taking that Dirk to the face like a champ. Limit break!
That is some damage.
Oh
Still
no,
not
another knife to the
Ow.
face.
A second
Knife
one.
to the
Oh
face
no.
Everywhere.
Oh, what a horrible way.
No.
Not what you want to see. That was bad luck right there. The fact that he didn't do any tonics or anything like that.
He did get through his potions phase.
Oh,
That's
did
scripted based on his HP. How it works is if you use so many fight or magic command, Dataluma will start throwing knives. So I believe it's 5 total between physical attack and something from the magic skill set. So if tries it again and were to use Quasar, say, that would definitely knock away the Dirks being thrown. Or like using Slot as well would avoid that. Definitely the real source of danger in that fight. Any enemy with a throw command is just frightening.
Yeah. On that, Jack, how much did you actually use the slot command in your seed? Did you use it quite a bit, or did you pretty much just ignore it?
I abandoned it as early as I could.
Okay. Like, I know sometimes I'll try to use it, be like, oh, I'll try to, like, get the 7 flush to do some good bit of damage, but it's, like, so unreliable.
I used it a bit out of necessity early on, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah. At the very beginning, that, ooh, I'll get some good healing out of it, and you're like, but it's only, like, maybe 30.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try Velt Cave for Bentisi here. Picking up a snow muffler that nobody can use. Zelfer finding the boss in Ebbets Rock fairly quickly. It's Kefka at Nurse, so not too much of an issue here. Definitely has enough hit points to survive Kefka's Ice too.
And there's that's going to be some good damage. Meanwhile, Bentizi does find the Snow Muffler, but again, he's going to be disappointed because nobody yet can equip the Snow Muffler.
Nope, I don't think I found anyone that could use it the whole game.
Yeah, and it's one of those items you get and you're just like, yes, a Snow Muffler, awesome. Nobody can equip it, and you're like, oh.
Yep. Well, Kefka down for Zelfer, and Bentizi's about to fight a goddess. That's not fun.
No, that is not a fun fight at all by anyone's definition of it.
Yeah. Well, Zelfer gets a disappointing Magus Rod. Ebbets Rock, not the answer today.
Hopefully he should be able to make quick work of this. If he's got the fix, I mean, that's kind of what I use. I use fixed ice, and that really got me. I got lucky when I was able to get through it.
The goddess battle here?
Yes.
Yeah, I certainly did not beat this boss.
I mean, my Cyan was at like 2 HP and then got like a quad 9s roll on his dice, and I got through it.
Nice.
Yeah, I just got extremely lucky with the luck strats.
Yeah. Well, like Nth said in chat, just natural roll a Joker Doom. That's all you have to do.
See, I've never learned the Joker Doom, and I kind of don't want to learn it. I feel like it takes away a little bit, but maybe that's just me. So, but I do know there's ways to do it.
Broken. So Dice now out for Bentizi. And we've got Zelfer going into the cave here as well. Checking the monster in a box, hoping for an offering, but alas, it's just a Telstar and a green beret.
Yep, there really was not too much. I mean, obviously, we're going to soon find out. There's really not too much again. Unfortunately, like quite a few seeds we've had this week, there's not too much variation in the beginning of the seed. You pretty much were basically told to play connect the dots, but all the dots were in a straight line.
That is the case for this one, but the line is actually quite short once you find it. There are just a whole lot of options otherwise in this particular seed.
But we'll see if Bentizi's able to get through this goddess. He's putting out some good damage. He hasn't died yet. He's been able to get multiple Quasar casts off with the Strago, so that's good damage coming out.
Yeah, well, fight's definitely on a time limit now with this overcast coming out.
Yep, that is the big rush there.
Generous timer though at 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think unless he I realistically think he'd be wiped from other things before he'd be wiped because of this.
Yeah. Of course, you can now see the problem with the overcast there. The countdown runs out or your character is killed. It'll turn you into a zombie, and you cannot cure the zombie inside the battle.
Nope.
Very, very nasty ability.
Yeah,
so we've got Zelfer going to try and battle a goddess now. And Bentizi's just going to say, no, I don't really want to deal with that boss either. So where's Bentizi going to head to next? Looks like Bentizi's going to try the Burning House.
Again, because remember, he ran into the Ogres last time, or was that Zelfer that ran into the Ogres?
No, it was Bentizi that ran into the Ogres.
So hopefully he's bought some, hopefully he has some Revivifies. Because Ogres don't go down most of the time in a single roll of the dice.
Most things don't go down in one roll of the dice.
At least not till later.
The enemies scale with you, so it's hard to say. Got lots of smoke bombs, though, so I think it's just going to be run until you can't run anymore, the house.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's probably going to be the best strategy.
Zelfer being pretty consistent getting those Choco Bops out there. Only 600 damage, though. Gonna feed Strago and Ether and keep popping out some Quasar.
But he's making work on it, but there's the Overcast. Let's see if he gets as lucky as Bentizi did with his times.
Well, let's see.
Not too bad.
Not quite as lucky. 50s instead of 60s.
Yeah, but still doable. I mean, and gets, unfortunately, Bentizi. Okay, he has 2 other party members. Okay.
Yeah, hanging in there. Throw smoke bombs all day, every day.
Yep, kind of what you gotta do, and he has the
and
goddess statue down.
the run of chocobos is going to get it done. Zelfer is going to defeat the goddess and be rewarded with a magicite, which people can use and has good things.
There's one other thing that you get from killing a goddess. You get an Excalibur.
You can throw it later.
Yeah. You know, the mighty holy weapon Excalibur being chucked.
Excalibur's not a particularly great weapon in this game, unfortunately.
It's not the worst weapon in the game either, though. It'll fill an early spot pinch if you need it.
It's a caster weapon. Throw it on for a bit of evade. Don't swing it. Yeah, so Zelfer able to defeat Goddess. That's going to help out a bit, and Zelfer's going to head to World of Ruin Narsh.
Yep, he's going to go get that free heal.
Yeah. Dragon hunting? Nope, just healing up. So I wonder where Zelfer's off to next. On the Zelfer World Tour of Awesome.
Gonna go do Doma Castle.
We're gonna go to Cyan's Dream. Zelfer. Bentizi battling a random Vargas inside of a burning house.
This is what I ran into too. This is the random boss encounters flag showing its head. And it can sometimes just slow you down a lot, because Vargas in here at this spot actually had quite a bit of HP that I had to get through.
Yet the enemy stat scaling is on. So Vargas is going to be a bit of an HP wall.
Yeah.
Not
he is
particularly threatening, though, thankfully.
Yeah, no, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but he eats up damage, man.
Yeah.
He's a brick house. Meanwhile, Cyan's gonna make, not Cyan, Zelfer is gonna be making his way through there, finding the little kids hopping about in there.
Well, Vargas, #1 defeated for Bentizi. How many more will we see? And we've got the first boss inside the dream for Zelfer. It is River Ultros, so not a threat.
Yep.
Bosses only uses physical attacks, so hard to run into any problems against this iteration of Ultros.
Hopefully, he'll be able to get through. Keep up. All right, he's got enough smoke bombs to say. I hope he bought enough smoke bombs to get through all these ogres, because knowing if he has my luck, he's just gonna get caught by every single one of them.
Well, nice pathing through the last 2 rooms of able to avoid encounters, and we're going to get to the actual boss. Hiding in the Haydenites, everyone's favorite 70s prog band.
I was gonna say that sounds like such a band name, and it's so good.
Yep.
The Chocobop's gonna do some solid damage here to try to get the little ones down. So the question is here, though, you probably can't live through the Grand Train, but at the same time, you have Strago who could learn Grand Train. So it's like, okay, do I risk it to see if I can live through it? You probably can't, but...
Well, the path that Bentizi has chosen, he is definitely using attack all enemies moves, so when the Haydenites are gone, that's when Hayden breaks out Grand Train.
Oh, it won't cast it, it's too low. Oh, that's a shame. That's the only reason I ever want to see Haydon, if I have Strago who has Learn, or his ability, is to maybe get that, but...
Yeah.
No dice.
Undead bosses are instantly givable in these flag settings, so perhaps Bentizi did not notice that. Yeah,
I didn't realize that a no undead flag was turned off either. There were so many flags I was trying to look at on this that I missed that one, and that would have sped that fight up a lot.
Well, in truth, it's a flag I never check, but it only takes 5 seconds to use a Revivify, so you might as well try it and see if the flag's on or off. Well, Hayden left alone, there's the flash, and it's going to be a Heartburn, not a Grand Train.
Not what you're looking for.
Not much of an issue, yeah.
Slowly making his way through.
I foresee no further difficulty for Bentizi in polishing off Hayden here.
Nope, he's getting pretty good procs off of his slot. That Chocobo Bop is going to do decent damage. He's got the fixed dice going. He should have no struggle with this.
Yep. So Zelfer's going to come up against Dadaluma, who, as we remember, smoked Bentisi with a hail of knives. See if Zelfer fares any better.
Hey, who knew Dad was such a strict disciplinarian? Hopefully you should be getting done with this heat-on fight pretty soon.
Well, to be fair, I guess Dadaluma did study the ancient ways of the McNinja and mastered his knife eye attack.
Yeah. There's, let's see, like I said, I really hope Zelfer does not get the same luck. What's worse is when he throws, like, the mithril knife, that just does huge damage.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what level you are because the boss scales with you. A thrown knife is pretty much gonna be an instant kill on whoever it hits.
Getting some good rolls on the fixed dice, though, putting out some good damage. That might be what ends up saving him. And he's also getting the Chocobobs.
He's only used 2 physical attacks from Cyan and is electing to use lore and slot, so he might not run into knives.
And that's just one of those things that, like, you can really tell when more experienced runners, because they know all the logic on how the boss scripts work. So you can really take advantage of that. Where a newer runner, or even like myself who doesn't know all the boss scripts, we're just going to attack, and then you get it triggered, and you're like, oh man, that sucks. I don't know how to get around this.
Yeah.
So learn your boss scripts, boys and girls.
Is at half health if he's using his potion spree. Zelfer is chosen to attack again with Cyan. This will be attack number 5, so it'll be Knife City if he does another attack or magic cast after this.
Actually, Hedonite. This fight is going so long, Hedonites are coming back.
Yeah, like, it's definitely worth to try the 5-second Revivify if you're not sure if the flag was on or off, because as you can see, it could have saved quite a bit of time. It's been a pretty long fight here so far.
Man, Zelfer pulling out the Alexander Esper to do some damage to clear off the other guys.
Well, the Alexander Esper only costs 7 MP in this seed, and then another decent die roll from Cyan's gonna finish Dadaluma off before he could throw any knives.
Yep, that is one of the good things about the random Esper cost. Yeah, 7 mana for Alexander is pretty good.
Alexander is one of the only 3 Espers worth casting for the damage from its spell.
I'd say Alexander, Bahamut, and what's probably the third?
Tritalk.
Oh yeah, Tritalk does do solid damage.
Yeah. The other damage dealing Espers just aren't worth it. Level 2 spells are better.
Yeah, I mean Mandoin, like it says it casts Havoc Wing, but apparently he does not have the same version of Havoc Wing that Kefka does. So
yeah. Chaos is what it is, I believe.
Oh, okay. I thought it was called
Chaos
Havoc Wing.
I think. Yeah.
I was gonna be like, Mandoin, why don't you know Kefka's Havoc Wing? That thing does like 7,000 damage. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, Kefka's Havoc Wing is the strongest physical attack in the entire game.
Yeah,
I think
it's apparent.
I think it's got like a 8 or 16 times multiplier on it or something outrageous. It's just death incarnate if you're not wearing a snow muffler.
Oh yeah, I mean every time like I see him cast it, I'm like, oh, who's dying now? Who is gonna drop instantly from this attack?
Yeah.
And I believe Bentisi did get through Burning House, right? I believe so. So it looks like he is onto the Floating Continent.
Yeah, Bentisi has dispatched the Burning House and is going to try Floating Continent. Zelfer is going to finally peek Fnatic's tower.
Yeah. I think he's going to find exactly what he's looking for. This is one of those, and there he sees it. So now he has this moment where he thinks, okay, do I take it on now? And it looks like he's going to do it. It'll be interesting to see.
Of course.
I'm wondering if he's going to take on the dragon, though.
That'll be interesting. He's checking his magic first here, which is wise. He's got a nice 2 on Shadow, so he can at least do damage.
And an Odin who casts 93 mana.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have Alexander, though. That's only 9 mana. It is multi-castable.
Yeah, so he should be able to get through here with the magic he has, or using some breakables.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fnatic's Tower is where you find Best Girl. And spoiler alert, she is 100% required to complete this seed.
Yep, that was another hard-gated seed. Unfortunately, all roads lead to Fnatic's Tower, apparently. So he's going to make the climb up.
It branches off quite a bit after this, but you do need to find one of 2 characters in order to be able to access all the required 7 dragons.
Yep, we are looking for either Locke or we are looking for Edgar. Because otherwise we can get the other open world dragons and you can get the 2 inside of Kefka's tower to make your 7.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Bentisi has taken on some robots up in the sky, and he is going to take the floating continent approach. Unfortunately, like we've seen, it's not going to lead where he wants it to lead.
Well, assuming he even can get through the check. I mean, number 128 here is not a pleasant thing to run into.
I got through Mr. 128.
128's not necessarily a fun boss to fight whenever the stat scaling is on, because it can actually put up a fight when you're not really expecting it to. But the real problem might be the boss after this one.
Yes, that's who I saw. I was like, nope, we're out of here, boys. Not doing this check right now. Does get the H-bomb on Shadow. So hopefully that'll put out enough damage to kind of take down so Delta hit doesn't come out. Oh, like, okay, yeah, both the arms are down, so he's safe there.
Zelfer's gonna run into the Air Force, which is actually a fairly welcome sight at the top of the tower. Air Force is not a difficult boss by any means.
No, he is quite tameable.
All Zelfer has to do here is not trigger the spec to show up, which will absorb all of his spells via its innate runic. If that happens, then he's in trouble. But,
yeah, then you're really in an awkward spot.
Yeah, here when all you have is magic.
Exactly.
Just focus fire on the boss and he should be fine, at least.
Yep, just gonna cast Alexander probably over and over again, and the Ice 2 spell that he does have. And if you are enjoying watching this race as well, we do have the Kefka Grand Prix every Wednesday and Friday here on Random Mania, where we're going to be showing 2 to 4 runners normally. We do have this week, we'll have week 7 and I believe week 8. Is that right, Jack, before we go to the top 4?
That is correct. 8 weeks, and then I think the top 4 duke it out, single elimination from there.
Yep, so I believe once the top 4 starts, the way that will work is they'll have all 4 in a race. The person with the lowest time is dropped out, and then they'll do another race where it's just the 3 of them, and so forth until we have our Kefka Grand Prix champion.
So the lowest time is dropped out, so you want to do badly in the final 4 is what Clappy is saying.
I mean, unless you want to win. And here is the man himself falling in the sky, the person you do not want to see here in Magimaster. Just because very high physical resist. Granted, the dice will be able to deal with it, but the other big problem is he puts out a lot of magic damage too. He'll get to a point where he just starts going nuts.
Well, the especially frightening part is that enemy elemental scaling is on, so you have no idea what this boss is going to throw out at you.
Yeah.
It's going to have likely a whole bunch of all-party hitting, completely unblockable, unavoidable moves, and it's a murder train is what it is.
Yep, there you can see the plasma. That's going to drop Shadow probably, and he gets through it. That's good. Does get another H-bomb off, so that's always a good roll.
Yeah, the lower level that Bentisi is at might actually play to his advantage here. He might be able to defeat the Magimaster. If his level scaling was much higher,
that will do it right there.
Real trouble.
A nice roll in those fixed dice too.
That'll help. It's not going to do it by itself, but all right, Zelfer's going to battle the dragon now. It's a Skulldurgan. Oh no.
This could be one of the. Eventually, one day we need to. Gets a great roll on his fixed dice too.
What on earth? Black Belt getting the fixed dice off.
Alexander will do holy damage to that dragon. That's going to do quite a bit to it.
Yeah, some people just have all the luck, Classy, it seems.
Sure,
well, there's a
too.
player star for Bentisi, so that's not gonna help his chance at survival here. Down to 1 Phoenix down is Bentisi.
Looks like he's just gonna go for it with another Choco
Bomb. Go for it, yeah. I think that's the right play at this point.
You're gonna get healed when he gets to the bottom.
Just, hope for the win here, because you're not gonna be able to sandbag through this with just 1 Phoenix down.
Yep.
Have to go for it.
He's going for another HP. He's got great timing. I don't have the patience to wait for the slots to come up the way I want. I just mash A.
Yeah, Bentisi showing some really good mastery over the slots here.
He is. Meanwhile, Zelfer getting that dragon down really quick. Here comes Snowball. He should live through Snowball just fine. I believe he has an ice shield. Oh, no, he does not. Thought he did.
Snowball's a percentage attack. It's basically Ice Elemental Demi. So that was not going to kill him no matter what.
There's the Doom.
Doom is a great game, but an unwelcome sight for Bentisi.
Yep. I wonder if he's going to try the check again, or if he's going to cut his losses and go look at Fanatic's Tower, and which effectively would reward him, basically.
Fanatic's Tower is the play in this seed. Because in a few moments here, Zelfer is going to pick up Terra, and, well, Terra can naturally use all the best things in the game, which our runners have been pretty much finding on the path here. So,
yep.
Throw on a Genji Glove. You've already got an Illumina and a Ragnarok. So it's going to get much easier for Zelfer from here on out.
Has a lot of great checks, too. I mean, Terra is one of the best characters you can find.
I would vehemently argue that she is the best character to find.
Yeah. It's a... As far as best characters go, I would definitely say it's her, Shadow.
It's her, Shadow, and Celi's in some order, for sure.
Yeah, definitely those are kind of like the top three. I would go as far as to say checks go, Sabin is probably right behind them at like 4th or 5th, just because he has 5 checks as well, and they're all fairly quick. But yeah, those three alone, their stats are just great. They have relatively quick checks outside of Floating Continent for Shadow.
Yeah, but Floating Continent is basically just Magitech in reverse. The 3-force fights are at the start instead of the end. They're about the same length. There's just more treasure in Magitech. If that floats the boat. They're both good checks to do. And in both of them, you can abandon them halfway through if you want.
Yes, that is the big thing. He's gonna do Kefka at Narsh. I'm wondering. I guess he's gonna try taking on Kefka at Narsh, but I guess he wants the Esper that's there.
It can't hurt. I mean, obviously, was hoping for a character find, but hey, if it's a good Esper pickup, that might help Bentisi get over the hump here.
Yep. Here we can see our boss sprite for tonight is the white Ultros. Let's see where Zelfer is off to now that he's got Terra to really open things up for him.
Well, the natural play if you get Terra is to go right for Sealed Gate, but you're in the World of Ruins, so doing a pit stop at Mobliz to see if it's required is usually a good choice. We'll see if Zelfer wants to take Magus Rod away. I'm assuming Zelfer does not want to take Magus Rod away.
Does find a Mega Elixir in the clock, though. That's always a nice little find to grab.
It's a nice little get out of problems free card, for sure.
Yeah, he's going to see Magus Rod and probably just say, nope. Yeah, he's going to go grab those Dragon Boots and just leave, yeah. So no little girl, he is not going to take Magus Rod away.
Looks, did Bentisi fall asleep at the wheel there?
I don't know. I don't know if he wanted some experience on his... yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's, yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, he didn't go when the gap was there.
Yeah, he didn't. That was, I'm guessing that was unintentional.
Yeah, I do too. I can't think there would be any reason why you wouldn't go at the right gap to get through. Meanwhile, Zelfer looks like he is checking the trap chest. You can get the Phantom to the PM Stalkers. That's a quick, easy check or fight to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, summon an Alexander and they're gone. And it's gone.
All right, let's see who's
winning. Bentisi is able to recover.
And there's an Atmo waiting for him.
Oh man, the poor getting poorer here. Another murder boss for Bentisi.
Eventually, if you're Bentisi, though, you just gotta say, well, this is a horrible check, and this is a horrible check. I guess I'll go look at Fanatic's Tower.
Yeah, that's the hope anyway.
Yeah, I really don't want to see him fight. I don't think he could take this fight right now.
Like, in truth, when I played through this seed, when I saw I started with Strago, I peeked the Fanatic's Tower pretty early on and saw Terra there, and I'm like, okay, well, I definitely want to do this, whether or not I need to. And after getting pasted at pretty much all the same nasty bosses we're seeing Bentisi run into here, I just went into Fnatic's tower and I'm like, I'll just break everything and hope for the best.
Yeah, you kind of
That
had
was
to do that.
basically it. Bentisi might actually get through this Atma fight with some pretty nice fixed dice rolls so far.
Yeah, but he's already down one character. But yeah, I don't know what Cyan has. Hopefully, with the then gets triple ones followed right after. So way to jinx him.
Dice gonna dice.
Commentator's curse right there.
Nah, that's just dice gonna dice. That's not on us.
Not on you. I didn't say anything about the dice roll. Don't pull me into this. Yeah, get the aqua rake. I'm not sure if you can live through it. Nope.
Nope. That's pasty. And well, Zelfer is just gonna murder this Vargas with a couple of Illuminas now. Oh no, only has the one equipped right now. Perhaps no Genji glove yet.
Yep, might not have found it. Vargas, you're in the burning house. What are you doing here as well? Did you learn how to clone yourself?
Everywhere.
He's got a clone army.
Yeah.
This is how the Clone Wars started.
Bentisi having a real rough go of things here, as I'm sure many who've already played this seed were probably expecting to happen to at least one of our runners tonight.
Probably not the last time either.
Oh, there's still quite a few people left to run this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was quite a few people I saw did not finish up this time yet. I think because they saw the flags and are like, I'm gonna need to set out some time for this.
We have a record number of forfeits this week so far.
Yeah, I was one of them. I can't blame those people.
I think we're up to 10 forfeits on the week now.
Yeah, I did see there was quite a few of them. This seed was very rough. This was, I mean, if you were a newer person into this randomizer and you joined us and you're like, yeah, I'll do some seeds, and then you ran into this, I can't blame you for being disheartened. I've been running this randomizer since it came out.
If this was the first seed you ever played, you would run away from this randomizer and never come back.
Oh, for sure.
So,
I mean,
so let's be thankful that it took until week 7 for this to happen.
Week 6.
Oh yeah, week 6.
Yeah. But like, no, I completely agree. I mean, I've been doing this randomizer since it came out. I remember seeing like when this randomizer was like in beta, like early beta, when we just had open worlds and everything. And even I ran into this seed and was just like, this is a nightmare. Like this, I feel bad for any of the newer runners who came into this going, yeah, I'm gonna have a fun week 6 of the Kefka Grand Prix, and just got a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Especially those people who sat down and were like, oh, I've got about 2.5 hours, I can get a seed done. And they were just like, well, it's been 2.5 hours, and I'm 3 dragons left to go, and...
I think the average finish time for this seed so far is well over 3 hours.
I do too. I think that's what I saw as well. This is a long one.
Yeah, like...
I think only our top runners got it under 3 hours.
Yeah, I think there's only 9 people that finished under 3 hours so far.
Yeah.
It's crazy how awful the start of this seed is. I mean, it's going to go by pretty fast for Zelfer now.
Yeah.
Like, Terra is a gigantic game changer on this seed. You go from having basically nothing to having tons of offense and defense, great checks available. It's just night and day the moment she enters your party in this seed.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, she has all this great equipment that she can use. She has a lot of great checks, so it's going to go pretty quickly from there. But here's where we can see Zelfer is one of our top runners. I believe he is in first place right now. You can kind of just see, like, knowing, like, okay, I'm just going to go check Kefka's tower, and I see that character's there. I've got to do it pretty much right away. Where Bentisi we still see now is kind of like selling things off, probably looking for other, like, breakables or stuff like that, before even looking at Kefka or at Fnatic's tower. So you can definitely see that coming into play here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, just for fun, we've got an offering fixed dice combo on Cyan here as well.
Yep, that'll speed you through a seed as well.
It'll at least make the dice reliable. The idea is that the offering will offset 3 bad rolls with 1 good one on average.
Or you can get the god roll where you're just putting out insane damage. So
usually that happens when you don't need it.
Yeah.
One of our runners this week had like pretty much a quad 9999 roll on 4 fixed dice, well past the point of it actually being useful.
Yeah, I mean, you really only want that stuff like when you actually get to Kefka's tower, like, because the dream would be to do that on Kefka and then basically be done with half his HP pool. But
Oh, if you're swinging around Illuminas, you don't care about gambling with dice. Like, by the end of the seed, if you've gotten Illumina, you'll be hitting like 20k a turn with 2 of them.
Well, yeah,
possibly more with Procs.
Here we see Zelfer is going now into Mount. No, that's not Mount Zozo.
That's
Sealed
Esper
Cave.
Mountain.
Yeah, Esper Mountain.
It's not a character, so Zelfer's gonna turn right around and leave.
Hi, Squid.
After
Bye, Squid.
picking up the fan-named Murder Child at the top of Mount Zozo.
Where did she get the Murder Child name from?
People who value stats more than levels tend to like her high magic power. Her game high magic power.
Her abnormally high magic strat. I mean, I do know she. I never saw the Murder Child. I wasn't there for when everybody started calling her the Murder Child. But yeah, she does have the highest natural magic in the game. So.
Yeah.
Get the EXP egg on the Terra to kind of really help get her leveled up.
Yep, there's the double Illuminas for Zelfer now.
And here we see Bentizi. I'm so glad he's making the dive into Fnatic's tower, so it can finally start opening up for him.
Yeah, it just gets easier from here. Like compared to what we saw in the Wednesday night race, getting to this point to go to Fnatic's tower at 1 hour and 5 minutes is positively sprightly.
Positively sprightly, you say?
I don't think I pronounced that word correctly.
I don't know what you meant by sprightly.
I basically combined like 3 or 4 words.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna challenge you on that word. I don't think that's a Scrabble word, sir.
Well, I wanted to say sprint, but that didn't quite come across, so I changed it mid-saying and added a ly suffix to it.
Here is where Nth is coming to your rescue, because sprightly is a word, but I don't think you meant it in that way of sprightly, meaning, yeah, like quick on your feet. So unless you did, at which point you backed into it without knowing it, I don't know.
Oh, no, I totally knew what I was talking about.
Okay, that's what I figured. I just wanted to double check with you.
Yeah. See, I just, tried to save face for other people who might not have had the word before by making up some crazy story about it.
I completely agree. I mean, half of the point of being a commentator is being a storyteller. So
I like stories. So I have a story for everyone, okay? So there was this one time, I was out with some friends on a boat, and there was this guy on the boat, and he was all like, "Come to the back of the boat!"
I must be missing the reference. Hey, look, there's the other Murder Child, as some people were saying.
I don't think Gao deserves a Murder Child moniker, because Rage is only good 5% of the time.
You leave my boy Gao alone, okay? He's a wild, ugly child. He's just trying to get through life, and he does not need your negativity.
Well, that's character numero 6 for Zelfer.
Yep, he is.
Bentizi battling the Skull Dragon. We saw Cyan gamble himself out of existence thanks
is
to
Zelfer already at 6 Espers as well?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, making good pace is Zelfer, but Zelfer has not found a Locker and Edgar yet, and you need one of those to access all the dragons. So there's still a good amount of seed left here.
Here we see Bentizi is taking on that Shadow Dragon as well. Hopefully he'll make quick work of it also.
Yeah, well, might not be the quickest fight, but these Ice 2s will get it done eventually. And if you can beat the Skull Dragon, you can definitely beat the Air Force at the top.
Yeah.
This is going to open things up for Bentizi here. And if Bentizi happens to take the correct path of characters from here on out, might even catch or pass Zelfer.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we always talk about every week that is so amazing about this randomizer. Because of the way we use characters to lock things instead of like key items to lock things, you can get two people who take completely different paths and still get to the end, which is one of the cool things about it. But also in this very scenario where normally if it was like if you needed like a key item hunt, where like, okay, this key item leads to this key item leads to this key item, you're not going to get that here because Terra is going to have 5 different checks, and
exactly
there's really not a rabbit hole kind of scenario where you go, oh man, I'm 8 checks in and then it led to nothing kind of scenario.
Yeah. The thing about this randomizer compared to most is, while like other randomizers, this one does have a lock. Like the lock to get into and access the final battle. The difference between this and most other randomizers is that the lock has variable keys. You can find a lot of different combinations of your keys, being characters and espers, to get in there. Whereas in another randomizer, you need this exact item at all times. So the pathing in this randomizer is a lot more wide open, which I think makes for a much more interesting race, rather than it being a case of searching the entire game world for that one thing that you need to finish, which a lot of randomizers unfortunately devolve into at about the 2/3 mark.
Yeah, I do think though it's also just because of like the type of game that 6 was, because it had so many characters, it allowed for this. I mean, to like the key items with other randomizers, I mean, obviously they kind of do those checks. They do it that way for a reason, because the game's already kind of programmed to have some of that logic in there.
Yes.
So otherwise you'd be having to basically rebuild the entire game, which just isn't doable with some of these old SNES programming. I mean, one of our fellow commentators and Restreamer Future Force just recently ran into this, where we were trying to do some stuff with Career Day. And some of these old programs, like, as everybody knows, most of these old Final Fantasy games are programmed using duct tape and super glue to hold them together, and they just break at random spots for unknown reasons. So, not to say other randomizers are bad because they do it that way. It is just one of the very cool and unique things about Worlds Collide.
Absolutely. Well, Bentisi taking a quick save break after battling the dragon. Not a bad choice, honestly, because Bentisi doesn't know what's at the top of the tower. It could be another completely awful boss. We know it's just Air Force, but
yeah.
I think saving there is a defensible move.
I always try to save as much as possible. It's burned me enough times where I've learned. That's one of the things I admire sometimes about you, Jack, where you're just like, nope, not gonna save, and you just go in. So, but.
Well, to be honest, there is a certain point of power in this randomizer where you really should not be afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Like Zelfer's definitely reached that point. He's got a character with 2 Illuminas in hand. Like, you have to try to get yourself killed at that point in most.
It would have to be quite the rough boss to run into to cause that.
You'd basically have to like run into a boss that's throwing ultimas out in order to kill Terra at this point.
Yeah. So I can see your point there. But I will say, if you're a newer runner to this, I would still highly encourage you save pretty often.
Save early, save often, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Zelfer's found everyone's favorite King of Figaro here inside Owzer's mansion.
So, I don't know how Zelfer always has this luck where it seems like he just knows the right checks to make every single time. It's like he's psychic, or he can see the future. I think he can see the future.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
He goes to he goes on his days off. He goes to like a fortune teller, pays her $20 to read his palm, and she's like, "Owzer's mansion looks good in your future." And he's like, "All right, I'll take that for heart."
Yeah. Well, we might see a sub 2-hour finish here from Zelfer. It's going to be pretty close at this point. Still have to hunt down 5 dragons and do all of Kefka's tower. It's in the cards, at least.
Which would just be insane. I do know Ravlin Bay, another one of our amazing commentators and runners in here, said he was at 2 hours and 10. So it's not impossible. It definitely shows that distinction, though, between kind of some of our top runners and the rest of us. Like, when you look at the times for this week, it's like, man, I got 3 hours. I consider that a good time. And other people are just like, oh, yeah, I got like 2 hours 10. It's like, man, either you had the right track the entire time, or you knew something I didn't.
Yeah. Well, in this case, as you can see from Bentisi, there was a lot of ways to just lose a lot of time early on in this one.
Yeah.
Like, all those awful bosses are, as far as the pathing is concerned, dead checks.
Yeah.
So it's bad enough to get killed by the boss, but if you're going to try it again and actually win, you're not getting something that's furthering your progression.
And the big thing also to remember, too, that Zelfer kind of did, and hopefully Ben Teasy will kind of learn, it's how many tries at a boss do I attempt, hoping that there is something here. And sometimes is it like, okay, I try twice, and if that's it, I'm out, or is it I try once, then I'm out? Because there was a few times where, like, Ben Teasy tried, like, 2 or 3, 4 times, and it's just like, well, at what point do you cut your loss and go do a different check? Here we see Zelfer is gonna go do the tentacles, the demon pasta, see what's here for him, and then I'm sure he's gonna go right away to get that cave, the ancient castle dragon out of the way. Runs into Tri-Talk, but he should have no problem with this. He has fire too, so. And Terra already putting out so much damage. That experience egg is doing some work for her. Oh my goodness, the damage.
Well, Tri-Talk is like quadruply weak to fire, so that certainly helps.
Yeah, he is making quick work of this poor Tri-Talk. But Bentizi does get the Air Force down, so he is going to get his Terra as well to really help open this seat up for him also. So that's excellent to see.
Yep. In terms of the required pathing to get to the King of Figaro, Bentizi is only about 10 minutes behind at this point, but the difference in Espers will add to that time frame as well.
Yes, that is kind of one of the big things we're going to see here, but hopefully he might be able to make that up. I'm trying to remember of where else Zelfer trekked to get all these Espers so quickly, because I know I haven't been the most attentive tonight, but he has racked him up extremely quickly.
There's enough quick checks that had Espers in them. Let's see, Zelfer was able to defeat the goddess in the Veld Cave.
Yep, I do. Yep, that one was big.
Yep,
oh, Science Dream was 3, that's right.
There was 3 in Cyan's Dream. There was a free one from Shadow.
Yep. And I don't think Bentizi has done too many of those checks yet. I don't think he's done Shadow. I don't think he hasn't done Science Dream yet. So we've got quite the interesting race, especially on Zelfer's side, because he is on pace right now to keep up there with a lot of the top times. And I do know the point spread and the times amongst the top runners are all extremely tight right now, especially with only, after this week, 2 more weeks to go. So it is going to be a breakneck race to find out who makes the top 4 for this Grand Prix.
It certainly is, yeah. Yeah, Zelfer's got a shot at sub 2 hours here, as long as Zelfer can continue to hurry. Still has to hunt down 4 more dragons after this one in the basement tier before going to Kefka's tower, which usually takes about a half hour to get through the tower and final boss.
Yep. Yeah, I would say, I think, if not below 2 hours, maybe right at about the 2-hour mark. He is making excellent time.
That's kind of what I'm feeling here too, yeah.
To see if I can pull up the current race standings for everything, just so we can kind of give everybody an update on where we are with everything.
That blue dragon is dead after taking 2 Illuminas and a proc to the face.
So as of looking at things, points. So currently we have Zelfer is in first place right now with 193 points, but right behind him is Boo with 192. So that's really tight for first and second right there.
It certainly is.
And then we have a runner who we have not actually had live on stream yet, but hopefully
Lockhole live.
Yeah, Lockhole live. But if he does make the top 4, he will have to be on stream. So there is that. So we will get to see him, but he is currently in 3rd right now. Or currently in 4th. Right behind that is our restreamer on the Wednesday night stream, Future Force, at 172. So he is only 4 points behind. He is only 4 points behind Lockhole Live, and then you, Jack, are only about 8 points behind Future, and about 10 points behind Lockhole Live. So
I think I'm pretty much done at this point, unless someone falters. Like,
You never
I
know.
had a couple first place finishes, but there was
Yeah.
1 week I did really bad, and that's probably sunk any chances I have at the top 4, the way that the scoring system works.
You never know. Zelfer could, have a head injury in the middle of this race and just like have a horrible time, or
I certainly hope not.
well,
That would be a pretty disastrous situation.
look, do you want to win or do you want to care about other people? These are important questions here.
Can't I do both, Classy?
I mean,
Can't I
maybe
do
you
both?
could, but yeah. So you can see that it is pretty tight amongst the top 4. I do think though, Future still has a chance of staying in it. It all is going to come down to like the last 2 weeks to see who makes this top 4. Zelfer and Boo would have to do a pretty big flounder to not make it into the top 4. But you never know. I mean, with seeds being the way they are, people can just come out of nowhere.
In a format like this, it only takes one bad week to take you out of the running. So you gotta be the best at all 8 weeks, not just 7 of them.
And the great thing I would like to point out is I'm just looking kind of at the top, even just like the top 15, top 20 people. There's quite a few names that we've never seen on stream and are also fairly new to the community as well. We've got people like Francois Harpy that's up there, Lanxium, Twan, Ben Teasy, who is fairly new to the seed. He is currently sitting in 15th place. So it's one of those things you can clearly say it's not just like all the kind of people who have been in this like community forever that are in the top there. We've got quite a few people who are newer to the randomizer who are doing quite well.
Yep. If you've played other randomizers before, like the ability to route on the fly is key to being good at any randomizer. Beyond that, the next important thing is knowing some of the quirks about the game itself.
Yeah, I would say your first point is especially true. That's why we see some people like one of our runners, Flurry, was top 2 in the recent free enterprise highway to the Zima Zone. So you can see these kind of skills do carry over between all the games, and being able to kind of learn how to prioritize different kind of checks and learning how to apply that.
Absolutely.
So just goes to show everybody.
The community for Worlds Collide has grown quite a bit over the last couple months, especially with this event going on. So
yeah,
we might be having some more like standard format tournaments in the near future for this.
That is what some of the rumors have been.
Bracket stuff. Ooh.
Yeah, there's been talk. I've heard there's stuff in the plans for a standard tournament where we'd have like a group stage possibly to start off and then go into an actual bracket system. Yeah, I remember last Friday, Game Boy Fan was telling us that I think we are one of the top 5 largest like RPG discords there is. I think only behind kind of stuff like A Link to the Past and Final Fantasy 1 and kind of some of the others, Dragon Warrior.
A Link to the Past isn't an RPG.
It's an action RPG. It does count.
No, it's an action adventure game.
Okay, so if you want to count out Link to the Past, I think we are then top 2 or 3 for like JRPG.
Well, I'm gonna argue anyone with more Discord peoples than us doesn't count because I can't at everyone then.
Okay, well, and there's Game Boy Fan Pop in the chat right now. But has anyone won a big randomizer tournament in 2 games? I don't think so. Like you just say, Tristal MTG is the closest, and we got first in the first FFR randomizer, and then second in Dragon Warrior. It's interesting too. I've noticed a lot of like runners tend to stay within the same console as well. Like it seems like people who do really good at Final Fantasy 1 also normally are common runners of like the Dragon Warrior stuff, because that's all on the original NES as well. And then people like stay to SNES randomizers as well. It's just kind of funny.
Well, Dragon Warrior is a bit different in that it's probably the easiest to understand randomizer out there. So a lot of people will play original Dragon Warrior randomizer because it's pretty much a nothing game to pick up and learn.
I will say it's not that hard to learn, but there's quite a few things in that randomizer that you have to know like how to deal with though.
Oh, to be successful at it, yeah, absolutely. But like original Dragon Warrior 1 rando has at least 500 people that run a few seeds of it per year. So like it's one of the bigger ones for sure, and it being really easy to access is definitely
Yes.
something that helps there.
I will say though,
We've
I
got,
was practicing.
We've got Zelford diving into Kefka's tower here as
Yeah.
Bentizi picks up Gao at the sealed gate.
You might be right. He might be either sub 2 hours or right at it. He is making excellent time.
Somewhere between 155 and 2 hours is kind of what I'm feeling here.
Barring like a bad Kefka's tower, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you split your party members up without knowing which bosses are ahead. I mean, the obvious choice here is to put Terra into Party 3 and have her fight the vast majority of the bosses because she's pretty much invincible with 2 Illuminas.
Yes, yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. But yeah, you can get really bad party splits where you're like, man, I really hope somebody who's immune to fire isn't this path because this is really all I've got to kill them. And you run into a spicy chicken and you're like, well.
Well, we've seen most of the nastier bosses outside of Kefka's tower, but I think we had duplicate bosses on too, so we'll have to wait and see what our runners run into here.
Yep, it's always interesting to see kind of what comes out of the statue fights. Looks like we've got Bentizi is going to do the Velt check for Gao.
Usually not a bad choice. It's pretty quick. I mean,
unless you just get really bad luck.
There is, of course, the random element of does Gao show up or not, which means that you could theoretically fight forever and never see Gao. But the odds are stacked in your favor. It is a 5 in 8 shot for Gao to show up after any non-wonky formation encounter. So if you get like a back attack or a pincer attack or a side attack, like don't even fight the battle. Gao can't show up in those.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that's another thing that unless you really know it, you won't think about it. So like this, like you said exactly, except if it's a pincer one, you know it's not gonna be there. But these ogres, man, ogres I think are my least favorite enemy in this entire game.
They're not nice for sure. There are far worse enemies. I mean, Zombite is nasty, but a relic can take care of that, or just high physical evade. Like, really the single nastiest encounter in the entire game, outside of a Brachiosaur, which you're not going to see too much in Rando, is the double outsider Madame encounter. That is just horrible all the way around. You have 2 enemies that spam throw and one that spams high-tier non-elemental magic. It is designed to give you game overs.
Looks like he's going to get through this pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, we can now see that his shadow has fixed dice offering, so he should be speeding through this seed pretty quickly as well.
Well, he's got 2 Illuminas on Terra too, so
yeah,
it's hard to go wrong with that. Yeah, the dice can help. It's random how much damage they do. I've said enough about dice. I don't want to talk about dice anymore tonight.
I get this feeling that you're not a fan of fixed dice. Tell me more about that. But he got finishing up Larry here, so he should be done with this pretty quickly. It looks like Setzer had the throw command, so that's kind of nice.
Setzer was a pretty nice late game pickup. He had throw and natural magic. Realm also had natural magic, so Zelfer's got a couple other characters capable of throwing out some level 3 spells to go alongside with Best Girl Terra there.
Yep, Gold Dragon, another pretty easy dragon to take care of. Honestly, I think the worst dragon to run into by far is always going to be Dirt Dragon.
Dirt Dragon and Storm Dragon are definitely the worst ones. Gold Dragon is, I'd say without a doubt, the least threatening dragon.
Yeah, I would say him and Ice Dragon are pretty... The only downside of Ice Dragon is that it will sometimes freeze up the team.
North Cross is a very, very dangerous RNG move. It can be a complete non-threat, or it can be an instant reset. To Game Boy fans' question, yes, so Soldiers, the Kefka sprite, and the Ghost sprites have all been replaced with the Ultros sprite tonight. So that's why you are seeing that octopus all over the place. So that's another really cool thing we do have going on with this randomizer, is you can replace... We have a lot of sprites that you can use to replace different characters, so like between like Terra and all of them. You can use it to replace the soldiers, you can get it to replace like the Chancellor and all that. So we have a lot of different sprites you can play with as well. We've got
a whole bunch of different Final Fantasy character sprites in there. We have like some Chrono Trigger sprites in there, some Neptunia sprites in there. So if you like doing that as well, and we do even have some presets that kind of have community favorites for like different of our community members who have kind of been associated with the sprite, basically.
I think next week is Final Fantasy IV themed as far as sprites go. From what I saw from peeking ahead, yeah.
Yeah, we do have quite a few, and it's funny how many parallels you can drive between 4 and 6 as far as the characters. I was like, well, I've got a Prince character. Well, so does 4. I've got an old man. I've got a ninja. Look, man, we're checking them off.
Yep. Although I do have to say, I missed the Angry Video Game Nerd sprite that was an option at one point, but that got taken out because one of the sprites was just a tombstone with a curse word written on it.
Yeah. We did have to kind of go through and clean up some of them.
Yes.
But there is still quite a collection of them in there, though.
And there's a couple members of the community that are always trying to add new characters in there.
Yes, there is quite a big sprite community as well in the Discord group too. So you can always, if you want to create sprites for the game, you can always put it in there. I believe they do review them now to make sure that obviously they're all above board. And fairly often, I believe, like whenever there's an update, they try to get those put in.
Yep. Well, Ben Teasy says no to the Double Doom Dragons. Can't blame him. And he's going to finish the old Serpent Ranch. And be rewarded with not a character.
Yep. So hopefully he will find... So he is looking for... So what does he have that Zelfer does not? He is missing Edgar...
Ben Teasy needs Murder Child and Edgar. So Zozo is the next play. Setzer was Ancient Castle.
Oh, okay. So he does need Edgar.
Setzer was not required, but for a 10-second pickup, since you have to fight the dragon anyway, a character with Nat Magic and Throw is quite nice to find.
It looks like he is going to go to Zozo right now, so...
Yep, Ben Teasy on the correct path.
And here we thought we were going to be worried about the 3-hour mark tonight, because right after this, we do have the Free Enterprise Community Race coming up as well.
That's happening at 10 Eastern, so in about an hour and a half from now. But
yeah,
I think we were right to be worried about it, considering the average finish time and just how nasty the start of the seed is. But both of our runners have navigated the pitfalls and the peril quite nicely so far.
Yeah,
we've got a random Atma inside Zozo for Penteezy here.
Ouch.
Yeah, unfortunately, the run from everything flag does not apply to bosses, so Penteezy's going to have to muscle this one out. Not having that Moogle Charm on being a bit of a detriment here.
Should be able to take it down fairly quickly, though. I don't think he'll have too much problems with it. I don't know what he is casting here. Oh, Seraphim. Or Siren. Or no, Seraphim. Just gonna get that heal out there. Jack, okay.
I mean, attacking with... does absorb fully, so any procs are really not helping your damage race here.
No, they are not. What he's really hoping for is that this the Shadow puts up some good rolls, but he's really not. He's only doing about 800, 900 damage a roll here.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't use fixed dice.
I'm still gonna roll. I'm still gonna use fixed dice. They're gonna say that every time, but I'm still gonna use them.
Well, look, Cyan's got a Ragnarok. Do you see how much better that is, even with the long flare animation? I mean, that was reliable damage.
He's gonna need some healing though. His team's getting pretty low. And I don't think he's gonna roll a Quake, but you don't want him to just Quake out of nowhere. There's a good roll. That should do it though.
Yeah, the dice worked out this go around. This is gonna be enough. There it is. Atma defeated. Strago dead for Zelfer, but I don't think he's super concerned about that since he's got Shadow swinging or Ragnarok around.
Yep. Yeah, he should. Number 128 here with the equipment he has shouldn't be too bad. He's blocking quite a few of the attacks too, so.
Yep, the nice thing about those Uber swords is that they do give a lot to both evade and magic block.
Yep. And there it
there's
goes.
number 128 down. That is one of the final bosses, or pre-final bosses, finished up for Zelfer.
Yep, his first statue down. Meanwhile, Bentisi making his way slow. This is the worst part about the Mount Zozo check, is waiting for those idiots to walk.
Oh, it's not that bad. It only slows you down a little bit.
I know it slows me down a little bit, but I hate just... It's like being in line at, like, the DMV, where you're just like, please move faster. Move faster.
Yeah. No, I never found Zozo to be a bad check. The main thing is just make sure you have a warp stone before you go there.
Yes.
Because the walk of shame down that tower
It
is pretty long.
Yeah, it is not a fun walk down there. Yep. The big reason why we always tell people, buy your warp stones when you find them. Pick up like 4 if you can afford it.
If you don't plan on using them to run away from battles, 5 warp stones is the number that you want. You have 2 for the Zozo checks. You have 1 for the Velt Cave. And less important, but still a time save, you can use one at the end of Mount Colts and at the end of the South Figaro Cave to save a few seconds. Pretty much every other check just dumps you back out onto the world map, or you can't use a warp stone.
Yeah. This poor Magimaster, is that Magimaster or is that
That's number 24. That's not a Magimaster, but it's very dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that man had no shot. Look at Gao, another double slot Gao. Oh, it hurts my heart.
It really does. Like just those 4 letters in that order is enough to set my bowels on fire. Seeing it twice just kind of makes me want to explode.
Yeah.
I don't like slots.
No,
I don't like RNG things.
I couldn't tell with your absolute disdain for fixed dice.
Yeah. I'm okay with procs, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's RNG, but that's only beneficial RNG.
Exactly.
So Bentisi is at his 6 characters now. He's got the Murder Child.
Yep, there's a bunch of tentacles for Zelfer. Making good use of the fire weakness on the bottom left, throws a flame saber with Setzer for about 8k, so that's nice. Looks like he's going to look at what other throwables he's got, and it's like, I got a Pearl Lance, I'll throw that in the back of this one, that should be another 5 or 6k. 7k, nice.
I see.
And another tentacle down. Illumina's is strong, yo.
Yeah, I do see in the chat there's some discussion going on about kind of, at this point, with how much Atmatech, the person who designed this randomizer, has like added in with the embarrassment of riches we have for options on this randomizer, kind of what we consider standard flag sets anymore, and
there really isn't an agreed upon standard at this time. 710 seems to be the usual amount people go for, but I would be a much bigger proponent of 611 over 710 to kind of balance out the requirements a bit more.
Yeah, and I think honestly what we'll end up doing is we'll probably put it up for a vote in the Discord, and we'll say, hey, this is what we have right now, what things. Like, I do think one of the things that we would add to the default race flag set that's not on there already is the randomized starting abilities. Just because otherwise we go back to what we had before. We had very tiered characters, like finding a Celeste was huge because she had Runic and some good checks. Finding Terra was huge because she had Morph and really great checks. Whereas with the random abilities, it's like, well, okay, I found Terra. She's still good because of her checks and her stat progression, but if she doesn't have Morph, she's not like God tier that she kind of was.
Without Morph and Natural Magic, Terra is still one of the best characters because she can wear all the best gear, but it basically puts her even with Celes because like the two biggest things she has going for her, Morph and her much better natural magic pool than Celes, are kind of canceled out there.
But at the same time, random abilities also makes characters like Gao possibly usable. Because there's like, okay, well, if he gets Shock and something, or, hey, I've used a Gao with natural magic and Shock quite far into it. I think I took him to Final Kefka.
Yeah. Well, any character with natural magic is highly likely to be good. The chances of you getting a level 3 spell at or before level 40 are quite high,
Yep.
and level 3 spells pretty much all you need for offense most of the time.
But yeah, to the flag set thing, I'm sure eventually kind of we'll get everybody, we'll put out a poll and just be like, hey, let's all agree on a flag set for when we do decide to run this tournament. Have everybody agree on a flag set. You might not like every single thing about the flag set, but most of the time people can agree, yes, this is a fair flag set to do. Because the other thing you gotta think about when designing flag sets for things like that as well is making sure that, like, you don't have routinely 3-hour seeds. Like, okay, we got to keep this reasonable amount of time where people are going to want to put the time into running it. So,
Well, longer races can be fun too.
they can be,
but
not if you're going to be doing it every week.
Yeah, 2 hours for this rando kind of seems to be like the sweet spot. What
Yes.
a lot of people seem to think makes for a good seed or a good race.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, most of the time, I think most average runners in this are hitting 2 to 2.5 hour marks finishing up.
Yeah.
A 3-hour seed normally means like it was either really, really locked rough, or you're maybe a newer player, so you're still kind of learning it. Our top runners on a standard flag set get down to like the 1.5 hour mark most times. So, but here we can see Zelfer is at final Kefka. Now he's going to start abusing that multicast on Fenrir. So he's going to just use that to absorb so much damage from stage 1.
Pretty much all of it, really. Stage 1 does have nasty physicals. When you got characters with 3 and 5,000 hit points, I don't think you care that much. But when your character casting Fenrir is otherwise tossing dice, that is a choice I approve of.
So while Zelfer goes in here, did put the link in the channel. If you are interested in this randomizer, we do have the link to the Discord in there. The Discord is an amazing community. There's so many guides that have been put up. Ravelin Bay, like I mentioned earlier, one of our great restreamers, runners, and commentators, has actually started something recently called Moogle's First Seed as well, where he kind of goes through his run some basic seeds, gives discussions about it, kind of what he's doing, gives it open for people to kind of talk about. So it's a great place to kind of dip your toe into the pool for the first time as well. So a lot of great things going on in there. Plenty of people you can ask questions about. And then it also has the link as well for if you just want to generate a seed and try your hand at it. So Zelfer's already made quick work of phase 1, is on to phase 2. You can just see with how much equipment he has, kind of the damage he's putting out. He's making quick work of this.
Maybe I didn't give Zelfer credit here. He's got a shot to crack an hour 50 here.
Yep.
This is probably the longest tier of the final boss fight here.
It is by far. This is where I tend to notice I have the longest period of time as well. He's going to get the Odin off, though, to get rid of, I believe, Magic in the back is weak to... No, Tools is the one that can be instantly killed.
It's the Magitech part in the center that's weak to death, yeah. Probably the second most dangerous target in this form. The first most dangerous is that tiger face at the bottom. It has a zombie bite physical, and it has the dreaded North Cross.
Yes. Get him down fast and quick. Do not want him hanging around for too long.
Definitely not. And then the other two targets, the one at the back uses magic and can be muted, which is hilarious if you have a mute spell because it's worthless. And the one at the front only uses physicals and can be stopped, which is also hilarious.
I have seen some strats that I did not think about as well, that Siren does cast mute. That's another thing that we used to not see, people who just cast mute in a different way. But it's interesting to see more and more people using these status ailment espers for that kind of thing as well. It's like, well, I don't have stop, but I do have Siren.
Yeah. So, the magic is muted. Unfortunately for Zelfer here, we've got a double freeze from North Cross. Does his shadow have a fire spell? He's kind of hanging around in the menu there, so I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe Cyan was lucky enough to pick up Fire 3 on the way?
Yep. It does look like Strago got Zombite as well.
Yep.
So that's going to hurt.
Well, Strago is long gone. You know what? I see that Flame Shield in Zelfer's inventory. I wouldn't be too surprised if he broke it on his own party here to free up his primary offensive attacker here.
Primary offensive? I mean, Shadow's putting out quite a bit of damage on his own. I think they're all kind of his primary damage dealers right here.
Nothing compares to two Illuminas.
Well, yeah, but at this point, it's just like, It's just like they're all just putting out so much damage that it's exactly what you talked about earlier. You get to a point in this, just in this game, but in the randomizer as well. It's like it's really hard for you to die at some point.
Yeah.
Shadow has 5,000 HP.
Yeah, Shadow's not going down.
Yeah.
I think even while frozen, your character's evade still works, so nothing's going to hit Terra anyway.
I believe it does as well. There's a Ragnarok trigger too.
Yeah, nice little flare proc there.
At this point, though, he's probably wishing it didn't flare proc, because he's like, man, that was quite a bit of time eaten up.
Yeah, that's the one downside about the Ragnarok compared to the Illumina, is that the flare spell that the Ragnarok proc, for some reason, doesn't auto-crit like the Pearl spell from the Illumina. So it's even though the spells are theoretically comparable in magic power, the Pearl proc from an Illumina will always do double the proc damage of a flare from Ragnarok.
Yep. There's another flare proc.
Spells can only crit in that one specific circumstance where they're cast off of a proc from a weapon crit. So like
procs too.
Yeah, double Pearl proc. I think that's a dead magic.
Yo, I do too. Yeah, that is.
Oh no, it's hanging on by a thread.
Is it really?
Anyway.
I was gonna say double Pearl all the way. Is this real life?
Yeah.
And there's the Fenrir proc.
Fantasy. Yeah, on Illumina, the Pearl does do critical damage.
Game Boy fan, I'm not sure exactly what percentage the Pearl proc is, though. I'd have to go and look at the numbers for it.
No, he's exactly right.
25%?
Yeah, it's 1 in 4 for a spell proc.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think replacement effect procs are 1 in 3. So like the Scimitar's Cleave proc or the Sniper's Throw proc, I think those are 1 in 3. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bentisi is on the right path to go pick up that Edgar. He is diving into Owzer's Mansion. So he'll be finding that Edgar pretty soon. That'll put him at his 7 characters, and then he'll pretty much be on the same hunt, basically, for the dragons as well. So he's still making very solid time here, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bentisi's basically... yeah, Bentisi just needs to kill 2 more dragons after this. Like, if Bentisi goes right to Ancient Castle... I think the Tritok boss at Tentacles dropped an Esper anyway, so that put him to 7, but if not, you could just search the skies once you pick up Setzer in Ancient Castle. So Bentisi getting pretty close to go time at the Kefka's Tower here, as Zelfer moves on to Tier 3 of the final battle here.
Yep, this is the only, I mean, outside of Phase 2, Phase 3 is the only one that really has the chance to kind of just have the, I mean, he's such high level, but the wheels to go off. Just because if he just starts to start casting Meteo over and over again, but it's really unlikely that he'd have to worry about it with how much HP he has. He's got Cure.
His Terra can't be hit by the Meteo spell. He's got over 128 magic evade.
Okay, yeah, so... Yeah. At this point, Terra could probably carry you through the rest of the seed, but...
The moment you got her, she was basically guaranteed to solo the seed if you were that desperate. Like, not much gets through 2 Illuminas, and you kind of have to go out of your way a little bit to get the scaling high enough to start eating Ultimas from the enemy elemental scaling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think you need to be like level 50 plus for enemies to maybe bust out an Ultima, which is pretty much one of the only things that can get through 128 magic evade.
Yeah. Making quick work of Girl in the back. Is getting those holy... the Illumina procs off. So that is going to heal her, which is not... This is one of those times where you don't want your Illuminas to proc. You're like, please stop procking.
Yeah. That's a target you don't want them to proc on.
I remember I was facing her one time and had an Illumina, and it literally procced like every other swing. And I was just like, this is not real. Yeah. How is this happening?
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes maybe the play here, if you're wielding Illuminas, is just... have your Illumina attacker focus on the main body, which has more HP anyway, and let your other characters with non-elemental damage take care of the girl at the back.
Yeah, I do feel we do kind of get into this like mindset where like, I've got to kill the girl first before I can even touch Sleep in the front, but it's like, that's not true.
Yeah, you don't need to kill the girl first. It's just if you kill the body first, you need to kill the girl quickly after, or else she'll cast Life 2 on it.
Yep. But yeah, if you've got like offerings going on and you know you can drop them both pretty quick, you can divide up the damage. Here comes the columnist.
Oh yeah, just swing away if you got an offering. The girl will probably go down first anyway.
Yep. Dodges the columnist. He had both Golem and Fenrir up, so that wasn't gonna be an issue. But here comes the best music in the game as he goes to take on the god himself, Kefka.
Yep. And well, I think 2 rounds of attacking from Zelfer's party will probably kill Kefka. Like,
we're not even going to get to see a Goner.
We're not going to get to see Goner, no.
This is, yeah.
I mean, you've got 2 Illuminas, a Ragnarok, a fixed dice guy who's highly variable, and I don't know, I guess Strago can cast a level 3 for 2,000 or 3,000 damage.
Yeah, you know, just for some shits and giggles.
Yeah. Terran Shadow will be doing the lion's share of work here.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to see, like you've said, we're not going to see Goner. We might not even see Fallen One if he keeps putting out some crazy damage like he is.
If you do get Kefka over the 32,000 damage threshold at the start of the fight, you won't see Fallen One. Nope, he'll go right into charging.
There goes did you see those dice rolls
too? There's the hyperdrive counter, so he's already he's already in the danger zone. So Zelfer is going to stop attacking here until you see that message. The end comes beyond chaos. Then it's safe to attack Kefka.
Yep. Now he's going to push
once
him down.
Once half health or lower, if you attack him outside of this phase, he can use that awful hyperdrive move that you just saw, Paste Cyan in one hit as a counter, or even worse, he can just straight out cast Ultima and send you back to your save file.
Yep. Which you never want to have it happen. And there it is. There's the final flash. GG's to Zelfer with an official time of 150.56. So just over that 150 mark that we had him for.
Yeah.
And I think he would have had the sub 150 if he did not get that freeze off from the phase 2.
Yeah,
I think that ate some time.
That freeze definitely cost him a minute on the final battle. Might have seen us at 150 there, but
it's still an amazing time.
Very good time for Zelfer on this seed, definitely.
Yeah, that was Renfell. I don't know. I mean, Boo, Zelfer, and our other top runners are so good that I think they can realistically take any seed that's thrown at them at this point and make quick work of it. Now, of course, this one, he did, I don't want to say he got lucky, but he did get on the right track right away, where he found the Terra, was able to make that dive first, and then kind of hit right along where he needed to. But that's Zelfer luck. I mean, we all know, you've seen him for 6 weeks now. Zelfer is, an amazing runner, but he also has some amazing luck, too, so. We'll have to see if we can get Zelfer in here for an interview. While we do, we see Bentisi taking on Tritalk to get his last Esper.
Well, more importantly, to open the way to Ancient Castle, where one of the required dragons is.
Yep, so he'll get that out of the way, and then he'll probably be doing the same dragons that we saw Zelfer do earlier, just
And unfortunately for Bentisi here, this is going to be a slower fight than we saw from Zelfer. Bentisi wasn't able to beat the goddess in the Velt Cave, as I'm pretty sure most runners didn't.
Yeah, I don't think most did.
Fire damage at a premium here. So gotta go with non-elemental moves. Dice can saw through the defense. This is one of the fights where I approve the use of dice, if only because the only other real way to damage Tritalk is with fire.
Here, I mean, there is fixed dice. There is the drill that ignores defense. If we had it, I'm just saying if we had it. And there is the Valiant Knife if you had it.
Bentisi opting to cast Bolt 2 here. That's not going to work on Tritalk. Tritalk's immune to every element except fire. But his Terra did have a Meteor spell. That would have got through the defense if he was willing to cast that.
But getting some good dice rolls. But we are joined by Zelfer's. Zelfer GG's.
Thank you very much.
Put up an amazing time this week. We were amazed by how fast you blasted through some good dice rolls. But we are joined by Zelfer's. Zelfer GG's. Really?
Zelfer, when you got a minute, take a look at the finish times. And, also the fact that, 10 people forfeited already. This was the early part of this seed was a hot, steaming garbage pile for sure. At least until you got Terra, then the seed was just completely free, night and day.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's about right. Yeah, the beginning was yeah, you had to get very creative in the beginning. Yeah, once once you had Terra and you're like, oh look, that Illumina I had the whole game. We can use it now. Yeah, it was a lot nicer after that.
And then that other Illumina that you picked up from the Dragon in the Tower, and oh hey, I'm going to Sealed Gate because I have Terra, and there's a Genji glove. That's GG.
Yeah, that was those were good times. The only thing I was worried after that was getting stuck with a mean Kefka boss that was not fighting Terra.
Yeah, and Zelfer, just to put it in perspective, I think you are the only person I know so far that has been sub 2 hours. I think
Oh,
there's only 6 people who have made sub 3 hours on the seed that actually have times in. This seed was
There's two other people with sub 2 hour
oh, really?
times, but one of them is Boo, who's neck and neck with Zelfer for first overall on the whole thing, and the other one is me, who made a suicide trip up Fnatic's tower with nothing but breakables.
oh, that sounds like a really bad time. My condolences.
Well, in my experience, I got killed by all the nasty bosses. That for the most part you stayed away from. Like there was a Magimaster just hanging out in the middle of the sky if you tried to go to Floating Continent. The goddess inside of Velt Cave was particularly nasty if you couldn't roll good on your dice. There was an Atma at Kefka at Nursh. Like, after getting killed by all those, I'm like, you know what? I peaked Fnatic's tower. I know Terra's at the bottom. I have an Ice Shield and a Pearl Rod. I'm going to cross my fingers that I can kill the boss at the top with those two.
Ah, okay, and that was when things started looking up.
That is the only reason I'm sub 2 hours, because I took a really, really risky gamble and it worked off. Boo just did good, like you did.
Yeah. And then I can say,
Okay.
Zelfer, this probably, I mean, this easily puts you into the top 4. You would have to have a pretty big blunder in the last 2 weeks to not make the top 4. I don't want to officially call it just yet, but with tonight's time, I think it'd be extremely unlikely for you to not be in the top 4. So, because we were looking at the
Alrighty.
standings while the race was going on as well.
That was my entire goal. I was just like, as long as I make it to the top 4, I will be super, super happy and proud of myself. So if that's what happens, I will absolutely take it. And no matter what happens, have a huge smile on my face. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you've done amazing all season long, so you definitely deserve to be in the top 4, even putting up amazing times all over the place. So that's always great to see. So going in, have you had a chance to look at next week's seed?
I did take a peek at next week's flags, yes.
So what are your thoughts on the Mog Umaru start?
I cannot properly convey my thoughts on that on such a platform as we have currently. But I will say, once we get past the beginning, I don't think it will be bad.
No, I do think once you get that third character, hopefully it will be a little bit more doable. But I completely agree with you. I saw that and it was just like, it's going to be another one of those weeks, isn't it?
Right? Where's the mercy, people? I'm gonna appeal to everybody. Where's the mercy?
Just give us vanilla
Zelfer,
flags.
I have a couple questions for you. What did you think about the tiered shops flag?
Tiered shops makes it very difficult because you're not likely to find anything good in shops. I feel lucky to find Atlas armlets, and I'm used to like running around with Atlas armlets, earrings, just all sorts of at least decent stuff. Tiered shops makes that nope. You're gonna have to find another way. It makes it a lot tougher, but if you're looking for that added challenge, then it succeeds extraordinarily at that.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. So just kind of going over everything in its entirety, we know that this seed opened up pretty well. What are your thoughts about having like dragons as a required in seeds? Is that something you prefer? Is that something like you can do with or without? Or do you feel it just kind of adds an extra kind of legwork into there?
Um, I personally don't mind having dragons in there myself. I was a little hurt when I discovered Edgar as my last 7th character, and he's the one that unlocked the last dragon for me, and I got stuck doing Ancient Casual. That hurt.
Well,
And
if it's any condolence, everyone had to do that because Edgar led to Setzer, who led to Celes, who led to Locke, apparently from what we got from Franklin's 100% playthrough. So
oh,
everyone had to do Ancient Castle. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I think an 8 dragon seed would be annoying if you didn't start with like all 3 characters, because then you would have to hunt for every single one. But having one toss up character, like, as long as you get one of the 3 dragons, you can get all of them, or one of the 3 dragon characters, I guess you would say. I think those are fine, and those are fun. And sure, I mean, I'm likely to kill the dragons anyway, because they're just good to kill. But that's just me.
All right, I've got one last question for you here.
Alrighty.
And this is because everyone always has a completely different opinion on it, and it's interesting. What is your favorite / preferred character in the randomizer?
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
Just say Gao. Just say Gao. Make my day and say Gao.
Mr. Double Slot Gao,
Yes.
him.
The gambling man.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind Gao. I mean, out of the ones that invoke strong reactions, Gao's one of the ones I definitely prefer. I guess it would really come down to whose checks I like the most, because with random commands, it almost doesn't matter which character you get. It only really matters what check you get with it. So I might have to go like Sabin then, because he has a lot of nice checks that I don't mind doing like 3 or 4 of them in a row, like all the time.
I can agree.
He might be my favorite now.
Yeah, I mean, all of his checks are really, really quick that you can do. I mean, Phantom Train you can look in and hop out of. Trying to think of some of the other ones he has. Barren Falls might be the longest one, but even then you can get through it pretty quick. So.
Well, Barren Falls is only long if it's piranhas.
That's right. Yeah, if it's vanilla piranhas, that's the only time it's long.
Yep. Then you're seeing that waterfall for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he gives a lot of checks, and sometimes that could be a downside. But no, I think it would just depend. I can't speak right now. It just depends on the checks, really.
We got a lot of comments in the peanut gallery in chat there too. We've got some votes for Edgar. We have someone who apparently likes Strago.
Well,
that is a lone survivor. That is a lone man right there.
I can't convey my thoughts on that one at this very moment.
Yeah, I mean, Strago is kind of up there with Umaru, where it's just like, and even then, I think if Umaru was like equipable or controllable, I'd be like, well, at least his check is quick and easy to get through relatively, depending on who's at Tri-Talk. Meanwhile, all of Strago's checks are just like a slog most of the time.
If Umaru was controllable, I actually would like him a lot then. I think
I would too.
But that's not the way. And
sadly,
his check's locked behind another check.
Honest, if Umaru was controllable, you just command him to do the body slam every turn, and that would be a little too overpowered.
Oh, it would completely be overpowered, and that's why he'd be great. But that's the deciding factor. That's the only reason I dislike him, really. But oh well.
Yep, he is our berserker. Meanwhile, it looks like Bentisi. Hopefully he lives through this Quake. It looks like he does. He's got plenty of HP, but Dirt Dragon doing Dirt Dragon things and casting Quake, which is why I hate him so much. Well, I don't have any more questions for Zelfer. Did you, Boojak?
Ouch.
I know, I said it. It slipped, too. I was just looking in the Discord, and it slipped.
Okay, well, I have one more question for Zelfer.
Alrighty.
Hooray, Jack or Boo Jack?
Oh, this decisive question.
Is this the thing now? You know what? I'm going to go on the Hooray Jack train.
Oh, man, you're so amazing. Thank you. You can go now.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Zelfer. Again, GG with your amazing time tonight.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. You guys have a good one.
You too. And that was Zelfer, our first place winner for tonight. But we do still have Bentisi still making an excellent time through this seed as well. He is finishing up his... this is either his 5th or 6th dragon. I'm assuming this is his 5th dragon. And then he's going to go take care of the 2 dragons in Kefka's tower.
Yep, that's exactly where Bentisi should be heading here. Everything else is in order.
And while I play with some Jack, entertain the people while I do some restreamer stuff real quick.
Oh, okay.
See if I can get some music for us. Let's see. Cross your fingers. Alright, I think I'm going to have to play us some normal music then. Okay, we're good now. You can stop entertaining the people.
Oh, okay.
Not quite in-game music, but I'm having some stream issues, so we're going to still have some good Final Fantasy VI music, though.
Oh, yeah? Well, I can't hear it, so what'd you put on?
Balance and Ruin from the Final Fantasy VI soundtrack.
Okay, I have no idea what that is, but it sounds classy. So let's go with that classy.
Have you not turned into the stream and listened to us turn on the intro music before?
I'm usually busy racing.
True. Fair point.
And when I'm not racing, I'm commentating, and I can't hear the stream anyway.
Oh, you're right. What happened to my layout? Sorry, guys.
It's because you clicked on the playlist. You have to click back over to the other thing. But that's okay. We can still see Ben Teezy's game. That's the most important part. And Ben Teezy doing things a little different here. Not sending Dual Illumina Terra down the most bosses path.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I do not know what happened to History Stream, but I'm fixing it now, guys. That was unexpected. Sorry about that.
It's not the restream. It's
oh,
the
I know
frame.
what happened. It's the layout that I goofed up.
Yeah.
That was my bad.
Yeah, you ruined it, Classy.
I know. I'm a horrible restreamer. What am I doing?
I never said you were a horrible restreamer, just a horrible person.
Ouch.
That
actually kind of hurts.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good. I'm just goofing all of this up right now. Now I'm having like a mental restreamer break on like how to do a restream thing.
Well, I don't know. I think that that purple racing stripe at the top of the broadcast is very fashionable.
Yeah, I highly encourage people to always learn how to restream because you get to do with fun stuff like this. But to that point though, if you are interested in learning to race this or help out with the community with restreaming or tracking, we always love to have people wanting to learn how to do these different things to help out with the stream. You will become a hero in my heart for learning how to do the restream and everything. They're always very much appreciated in the community. So if you want to learn how to race this randomizer, if you want to learn how to help restream, and everything else, please join the community. I'm going to put the Discord link in there. Join us. We love having new people come in, ask questions about the randomizer entirely.
What Classy said.
Ceiling Cat, thank you for practicing learning how to track. We always need trackers. Trackers are also the other unsung hero. Speaking of that, please give these people a follow if you want to see our racers tonight, and of course our people on our restream. I think that's the command. It's definitely not that command. It's not that command.
You don't need to follow the people in charge anyway.
There it is.
I mean, we're not the ones that actually did anything important here. I mean, well, you should follow Classy because Classy's listed there twice, but you shouldn't follow me. Like I have Jack in my name, and well, that means that I'm a jackass. And Enthio, well, yeah, I think you should probably follow Enthio. Enthio's an okay human being.
Just give everybody a follow. It doesn't hurt. We all tend to stream either our races or everything else. So give those people a follow. Give them a shout out if you're in their streams. Let them know you're there. We do have Ben Teezy, in the tower as well, making pretty quick work of it also. So he's still on track for another great time as well.
Yeah, and Ben Teezy's ROM looked like it tried to explode itself there momentarily after that boss fight with the Stooges. It looked like an Atari game that Shadow was walking through for a moment.
I missed it, but don't you love when that kind of stuff happens to a randomizer where it just decides, you know what, let's go wild?
Well, if Ben Teezy's playing on like a flash card or something like that, that could be a little worrisome. I'd hate for the hardware to just crash on him so late into the race here.
That would be pretty bad. We've had that happen before where a runner had to quit out of the race, so we never like to see that. flashcards are really cool. I would love to get me my own flashcard to use, but then it's like, okay, and then I'd have to finally get like a streaming card or a capture card to be able to stream from it. But they are really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, Chocobob unfortunately not going to work on the floating Storm Dragon, and Gao got wumped into a fine red mist on the floor. So it's up to Shadow to believe in the heart of the dice.
Is that similar to the heart of the cards?
Yeah, except stupider. Because it's dice. No one likes dice.
Man, so you don't like any kind of like gambling games that like dice either? You're just like anything with dice and you're just, you aren't part of that life?
Absolutely.
Won't even play Yahtzee? You're just like, no Yahtzee for me. Too many dice.
I don't play board games with dice.
Man, that limits your selection.
We play Euro games because we like games that are good.
Wow, that's quite the call out there.
Oh
Yo,
my!
What is going on?
Again? Oh, it fixed itself.
Whew.
Oh, Ben Teasy, I hope your flashcard is in there, buddy.
Yeah, that is quite something to see there. Kind of adds a new level of spice to the stream, though.
Well, at this point, to be honest, it's not a matter of if Ben Teasy is able to defeat the final bosses. But now the question of will his game survive until the end adds a little bit of perhaps slightly misguided intrigue to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a new level of intrigue for an entirely different reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ben Teasy's going to pass around the dice and the offering, much like how children passed around their pogs back in elementary school. If I'm betraying my age a bit with that.
Yeah, I mean, I played Pogs too, but I definitely wouldn't bring it up. Because that was probably the biggest money waste I'd ever had in my life. Where it's just like, I paid how much because it had the Coca-Cola logo on the front of it?
Yeah, Entity, we do not play Godstorm. Don't give the people false information.
Yes, this is Dancing Mad. I do believe this is a remix of it, though, from the playlist. We're having to do this because, unfortunately, I am having a little bit of trouble getting Ben Teasy's audio to come through tonight, so...
Okay. I kind of want to flip through this playlist and recommend better versions of everything. Because, I mean, I'm sure it's probably okay, but we've had some rather unflattering comments about the music from the Peanut Gallery in the last 10-15 minutes here.
Have we... Oh, I mean, do you consider Mr. Entity as part of the Peanut Gallery? Well, I guess I do consider him part of the Peanut Gallery, but...
Nah, he's more like, I wouldn't even put him in the gallery. He's like, you know, one of those drafts that you just kind of crumple up and toss into the trash because it wasn't worth doing anything with.
Oh man, those are some harsh words there.
And I'm allowed to be harsh with him because he's my best friend. Except for Brian. And except for Keith. And except for Ross. And except for Mike. And
as
man,
you go down this laundry list, Ben Teasy making a quick list of the gold dragon. So he is at his 7th dragon.
Yep, Gold Dragon, a complete pushover as expected. Yep. So now it's just the penultimate bosses, the 3 statue locations plus Guardian, and then the big K himself in all his octopus sprite glory.
Although, like we've seen, the equipment at this point, it probably shouldn't be too much of an issue, but you never know with Kefka. He can decide to go crazy sometimes and really push things out of the way, but we should be doing... I still think he's probably on track for probably close to like a 2:30 time. Maybe closer to a 2:20, depending on how fast he gets there. Maybe 2:25.
I'd say 2:30 to 2:35. Still have the penultimate bosses to fight, and the final battle is usually anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. And keep in mind that Ben Teasy is only levels in the mid-30s here, so
true.
We're not going to be seeing like 6,000 and 7,000 damage swings.
That's right. He didn't pick up the experience egg that that Zelfer had. Now, mid-30s is still possible. He is going to pick up some levels from doing the
mid-30s is plenty with the ridiculous weapons available to Ben Teasy here.
And
we're just not going to be seeing the like near max damage from every attack that we were seeing on Zelfra's side earlier.
Oh, definitely not. But I mean, and even on a normal seed, where we didn't have to do all 7 dragons, I do know most of us will start going into Kefka's tower in like mid 30s, even sometimes early 30s as well. So.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
Depends on the equipment you get.
Nothing gained, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's been times where, like, if you have, like, the double Illuminas, you could easily go into Kefka early 30s, probably.
You could honestly get away with it in, like, the teens with double Illuminas because absolutely nothing's going to hit you. It's just going to be a very long...
Or you can always be, like, Rab and do the, what was it, Psycho Kefka, or Psycho Cyan?
Yeah, Psycho Cyan for, like, 45 minutes. Yeah. That works, too.
Maybe not the best race strategy, but it is a strategy.
Well, I mean...
It was only 28 minutes, okay.
I could see it working in a race, right? Like, if the seed is just so bad...
Yeah.
A win's better than, not finishing. So maybe it's like, yeah, you know what? I will let Psycho Cyan fight Kefka for a half hour. I'll still finish the race and beat anyone who didn't. You never know.
So one of the questions, do you actually, when Psycho Cyan's going off, do you actually have to hit anything, or can you literally set your control down and just let him go?
You can just, go to Burger King and order.
That's what I was about to ask. You're just like, yeah, it's dinner time. I'll be back.
Yeah. I think 1 week we had someone trigger Psycho Cyan on the weekly race that we do every Saturday, and then just come in unprovoked into the restream booth and just give an interview going, "Yep, well, I'm not done yet, but I can't lose. So how did everyone else do this week? Did my time hold up?" And yeah.
Did you just see the number 24 muddle onto Edgar? Him hit himself with his dice, but then still got to finish his other 3 dice before he drops dead.
Yeah, the offering will always finish itself. So
it's just kind of funny watching. You're like, I'm dead, but I'm taking you with me.
Yeah, we do have a confused Strago here. So, completely outside of Benteezy's hands for now. At least confused Strago does not have the confusion dice of instantly killing yourself.
Yeah, he did not do the Strago effect.
Yeah.
He's still confused, though. I'm surprised the magic damage didn't knock him out of it, though.
Magic damage
it
has to be physical, yeah. Okay. So this could be pretty dicey here.
No pun intended.
His Draco insists on murdering himself with level 2 spells that can't quite get through that Aegis shield.
Is it only physical damage that will take you out of confuse, or does it naturally...
It's only physical damage that will take you out of confusion, yeah. So,
boy. Did he just condemn himself?
He just condemned himself, so
man.
It's not looking good.
Stinks so much.
And a really small timer, too. Only 19 seconds. Uh-oh. Really small timer. Come on, Strago. There we go. Not confused anymore, but is it too little, too late? 14 seconds until Doomstown here.
He's going to have to, hopefully he has a Phoenix down to get up Edgar quick.
Yeah, I think you have to go for the Phoenix down here and hope that you don't eat something completely awful. Gonna go for the X potion here. A bit risky.
Yeah, it is. I definitely agree with you.
And counting on that countdown here.
He needs to hit the Phoenix down before that countdown's done.
Yeah, like the thing is that wall change is still just eating up time here. If 24 has an action queued up before this Phoenix down, thankfully he doesn't. So Edgar's going to get up on his feet as Moggs just lay down and take a dirt nap.
And now he's got to hope that Edgar doesn't get blasted with anything.
Yeah, I think you just have to attack and hope for the best. Oh, he's in system error, so actually the dangerous part of the fight is over.
Yeah, and that heals pretty trivial at this point. I mean, a single dice roll gets rid of that. But yeah, that was kind of scary there for a second.
Yeah, definitely worrisome. But Benteezy is going to pull it off. So number 24 is now number
0. What song is this? It's one of the town musics. I recognize it from somewhere. It's got a nice smooth jazz feel to it, though. I like it. But gets through that fight skin of his teeth, but he gets through it. Oh, it's the Narsh song. That's why that sounded like it. But yeah, got a nice smooth jazz vibe going on. Is that statue number 2 or number 3?
That is.
I think number 2.
I think that's the first one Bentisi did.
Is it?
I didn't see Bentisi go and fight the tentacles yet with the center party.
Yeah, it looks like he's still passing around some equipment as well. So
Yeah. I think Bentisi went for that one first because he had the Dyson offering sitting on Edgar there.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of equipment switching, which is also eating up a lot of his time too.
Yeah, definitely. One of the main tricks to save a lot of time in this rando is to spend as little time in your menu as possible. Like, if you're throwing an Esper on a character to learn the level 3 spells, leave it there the whole game, even when they're done.
Yeah.
If you've got someone who's wearing an Illumina and a hero ring, you never need to touch their equipment again, so don't even look at that.
Yeah.
Like, just the less time you spend in the menu, the faster your race is.
Yeah, I think the only like Esper I'd realistically switch out is maybe if I have somebody who has Ultimate on my caster, then I might try to switch out real quick. Or if it's like, oh well, this person has like plus magic power +2.
Ultima is definitely the one move that it is worth to switch around and get as much of you can of it. It does have a longer cast time, but the longer cast time is more than worth it because like on a single target at level 20 without good magic power, you can still hit the damage cap with Ultima. It's just a brokenly overpowered move, which is why we're seeing a whole lot of no Ultima seeds in the last little while.
Oh, that's right. Realm and Gao were not leveled up. I was like, oh, close to a complete wipe, but his Shadow is fine.
Yeah. Shadow's the important one here.
Yep, and takes down that tunnel armor nice and quick. So we're making our way. So that is tower number 2. One more tower, and then we'll be on to final Kefka as well. You can see still. And now the good thing about Realm and Shadow or Realm and Gao being dead here is that split XP is on. So having your Shadow up to soak up all that experience as well is also pretty nice.
Yep. Well, the levels don't mean a whole lot if Bentisi elects to continue using dice on Shadow, but switches over to something else, then the extra levels will definitely make a not insignificant impact on damage. This tentacle fight is not what you want to see with a offering fixed dice character.
No. Too
many targets, your dice are probably only going to deal damage decently once per 4 rolls. And I don't see any auto haste, so there is going to be some grabbing going.
It does get almost close to a max damage on the one tentacle, but you're right. Yeah, someone's gonna you really just hope that Shadow blocks all the seizes here. Otherwise, that's gonna eat up a lot of time because your other characters are gonna.
Yeah, for sure.
And here we see that randomized scaled ability with one of them casting Poison Frog.
Yeah, Poison Frog is effectively Bio 3. It's as strong as a level 3 spell. Really, really nasty to run into. I mean, it's great if you can get it on your dance command as one of the more common moves, but in vanilla, Poison Frog is the rarest dance move, I think, on the Caves dance, so not something to be relied upon.
Putting up some solid damage with that, gets one of the tentacles down. That's always good to see. There's that Wild Fang trigger. I don't know if it'll still do damage. Oh, it still does quite a bit.
Yeah, the tentacles aren't floating. Good doggo can eat them up just nice and tasty like.
Another max damage roll. He's making quick work of these. He has good luck with these dice.
Certainly seems that way, yeah.
The dog's name is Striker, right?
Interceptor.
Interceptor, that's what it is.
Yeah, Striker is Shadow's unique weapon. You need to recruit him in vanilla. And one of the better mid-tier weapons in the game.
I would definitely say picking up is not a bad thing to see.
Yeah, it has the X-Death proc ability on it, so it definitely has its places.
Makes quick work of the tentacles with some more great rolls on his dice. So that is statue number 2 down, 1 left to go. I do believe it has evade on it. Does have life 2 on this Shadow as well, so that's always nice and handy to have. I'm
Yeah, he can bring up these other characters that I'm assuming probably aren't primo choices for the final battle since they're under level 30.
probably not. I assume he also has Golem or Fenrir. I haven't seen yet, but I think he took the same path that Zelfer did, so he should.
Fenrir no, but did pick up the Esper on the Veld, which I believe was Golem, so should at least have that.
And with multicast, I mean, you might as well cast it every single. Just make sure it's equipped. There's been more
Yeah.
than one time where I forget to equip it, and I'm like, oh god, I know I have this, but I forgot to equip it.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a really easy fight for Bentizi, number
He
128.
doesn't have Golem either. Okay.
Oh, he doesn't have Golem. Interesting.
So I still think he has enough power across, even if 2 characters drop, that he can probably get through it. But we'll see. That's interesting.
Oh, okay. No, that's
he
my
has
bad.
Fenrir, okay.
I mixed them up. Has Fenrir, not Golem.
Okay, then he's fine.
Yeah.
It's all fine. Can make quick work of this number 128. I believe his Terra, has the Illuminas. Does she have 2 of them or just the 1?
Here she has 2 Illuminas. Yeah,
Okay.
this fight was over before it started. Cyan's got a Ragnarok too, but Cyan's standing on the back row, so that's eating away at the Ragnarok damage. It's not back row compatible like Illumina is. Like, Ragnarok's a great weapon, but there's an entire universe between that and the Illumina.
That's what I understand. Like, why give Illumina back row, like, ability as well? That makes no sense.
Well, the thing about Illumina is that in 1994, playing this game without a guide, you weren't going to find it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Like, on top of having to choose to keep Ragnarok the sword, are you really going to bet the best sword that you have at the Colosseum in 1994
Probably
and lose
not.
it forever for some garbage?
Yeah.
Probably not. That's why the Illumina is so overpowered. It's a really well hidden weapon.
Oh, is that how? See, I never got the Illumina in the original game, so you had to risk a Ragnarok at the Colosseum. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you had to deliberately not get the Esper Ragnarok and then bet the sword at the Colosseum, and it pits you against a pretty nasty enemy to boot. I think it was Diablos or something that it makes you fight. So like 20,000 hit points, spams death moves and flare and all kinds of other nasty stuff. Like the Illumina is really well hidden for a
obvious
super
reasons.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's completely broken. So
yeah.
yeah.
It's quite apparent. Alright, so he is on to his final Kefka fight.
Yep. So Bentizi definitely on pace to finish right around 240, which would be honestly, I think, a little bit better than the average time
I do
for
too.
like this week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still definitely a competitive time. And this is perfect timing because we have another rendition of Dancing Mad on the playlist right as we go into Kefka, so.
Oh yeah. Maybe put on the Black Mages version of
This is
Dancing
the Black
Mad.
Mages version of it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, the Black Mages version of Dancing Mad is good because they basically changed nothing, at least for the first 3 movements.
Yeah, this is
It's
funny that you said that because I looked down, it's like this is the Black Mages
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah, it's the games version just with better sound samples.
Yeah.
I think they kind of screwed up the tier 4 against Kefka a bit, where they tried to make it into a metal song instead of a like prog rocky kind of song.
Yeah.
But every video game cover band does that. Like most like SNES era RPGs, especially, their battle music is very, very prog rock, and everyone turns it into a metal cover. I don't understand why. They make it worse.
This suddenly became a music stream. Sorry, we're just like, yeah, enough of Final Kefka going on screen. Let's talk about some music. Let's talk about covers.
Exactly. Oh, pardon me just one moment here.
Yep, I gotcha.
You will have to survive without my baritone for 3 minutes.
I think I could solo it.
All right.
All
Wield
right.
your Illuminas with pride, justice, and no inhibitions.
Alright, so we do have Bentizi taking on Phase 1. He should be able to make pretty quick work of this, like most everybody else has, like Zelfer was able to as well. He is a little bit lower level, so we're not seeing like the 7,000 damage that Zelfer was doing, but he still has enough cure magic and everything else to make this pretty doable, fairly quick as well. And if he continues to get good dice rolls like that, now he does have to be careful with his dice rolls though. I have run into this before, because for this fight, you really want to make sure you kill the head and the long arm, or the one that's closest to the screen, first, before killing off that short arm, because if that head dies last, he is going to cast Quake. And if the long arm dies last, he is going to cast Shockwave, which is another kind of nasty spell you run into. So ideally, you want that arm in the back to die last, because then it just does a basic physical attack whenever it dies. And the offering can kind of get a little bit scary with that, but I think he should be good. I think he just has that arm left, so he should be fine. Oh, it looks like that arm is still up in the front, so he still does have to be a little bit careful. Could cast the Fenrir. I don't know if he knows multicast Fenrir is up, but may not even need it. Getting another proc off that Illumina. Again, just kind of showing how strong these Illuminas have been all night. And he's got his Edgar basically being his healer at this point. Now, I think he's doing a little bit of buffering here, so if you don't know about pause buffering or wait buffering, while you've got a long action like the offering going into play, you always want to make sure you have a character sitting in the menu, just because that way it does not advance the boss's ATB. A good trick to learn that I've learned from some of the other good runners in the community. It makes quick work of that phase 1. Now on to phase 2. Should have no problems with this one either. Might even cast the Fenrir if he knows that there's multicast.
Commentators curse it. Don't curse it, class.
I will curse it.
North Cross still exists. Don't curse it. We don't want to see an Ice Age here for Bentisi.
Does get the Imp off, though. That kind of stinks. But does have the Odin to get quick work of the tools out of the way. Who is it that casts Odin? Or that Imp? Is that the Tiger as well?
It's the magic portion at the back.
Oh, is it the magic portion at the back that casts Imp? Okay.
Yeah, the magic portion always acts first whenever you get to this fight.
Okay. I don't think he has any... Oh, okay, good. He does have some green cherries. Or even some remedies. Looks like... I think he's still just doing some more weight buffering here. Yeah, but you can see he's going to do it here too. Or maybe not. He's going to get probably one more command queued up, and then probably with Edgar wait in an item menu just to let all this go. What
Bentisi wanted to do there and did was select to break the ice shield over the tiger's face.
Okay.
Tiger part's weak to ice, so that's guaranteed max damage at this point.
Yeah, that's going to do... There it is. And there's the Illuminas doing their work on him.
Yep.
You can see the level difference, though. Not putting out the damage that Zephyr was.
Yeah, we can definitely see the difference in levels there, but even at low 30s, 3,000 a swing is really, really high damage.
It's going to be enough. Now, when he gets to phase 4, though, or when he gets to Kefka, I don't think he'll be able to rush through the Goner phase. He is probably going to have to Goner and then use like a Mega Elixir or something like that.
Yeah, the offense is a little low.
Goes down, though. He needs to get... Yeah. Hopefully he can get her up in time, which I think he'll have plenty of time. I think he has life, too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Kind of weird to see Terra go down there. I mean, the Flare Spell was a guaranteed hit, but that bio beforehand snuck through somehow. Like, his Terra must have at least 110 magic. So we're looking at, like, single-digit success chance on that spell there.
Yeah, that's when you really hate to see that kind of stuff, where it's just like, come on, the chance of that is so low, and it just sneaks through like you said.
It really is.
There's the life, too, though, to get her up, so...
Like, I recall a race where I was rightfully so holding A in a fight against a boss, Doomgaze maybe it was, and my character had, I think, 122 physical evade, and Doomgaze snuck through a physical attack to kill my character, and I'm like, what? How? Why?
That's true. It's like it's a 1% chance, and of course I get the 1%.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the old joke for like Final Fantasy Tactics. If you use a move with 99% chance to hit, it misses every time.
Misses, yeah. That's another game I want to go back and play sometime. Final War of the Lion Zone. None of this advanced stuff. I gotta play the original.
The retranslation they did for the PSP, or more importantly, actually, the phone version, is the version of Tactics I would recommend the most.
I've actually got the PSP one. I just got to find my PSP somewhere in my place.
You see, the problem with the PSP version is that there's a whole buttload of slowdown. The
Yeah.
phone version is the PSP version without the slowdown. It's the definitive version of Tactics, and it costs like $3.
Oh, I actually just looked on my phone. I actually do have it on my phone as well. I have War of the Lions both on my phone and on the PSP.
Nice. It does, however, suffer from being a tactical RPG and therefore has pretty slow-paced gameplay, but
Yeah.
if you can survive that, it's probably the best tactical RPG I've ever played.
Yep, I play it a lot when I'm on airplanes. So, that's when I get my time in for it. But yeah, it looks like he's still making quick work of this tower. He is still slowing down. I do believe he has the Tiger down. Looks like Tools is still up. He must not have cast the Odin to get rid of it, though.
Past the Odin, it
It
happened to whiff.
Oh, that
But
stinks.
no, the physical parts is down now for sure since we see the 10 hits going.
Yep.
And there was a decent enough damage on magic that might put the magic part down. We'll just have to wait until this death counterattack is done. Nope, magic's still alive and kicking.
Probably is
Well, a
gonna be...
couple big loose swings and now a Pearl proc for another 4K-ish. Oh, wow, 7K.
Yeah. A little bit more than expected.
It must be gone now. No, it casts quarter though, so it's definitely under 10,000.
So Pyrotic, you mentioned Tactics Ogre. I actually do have on my shelf to eventually play once I get my translator. Tactics Ogre, Let's Cling Together. So I do have that. That's another one that is on the list. There was
Wow, that is some spiteful AI. The magic part hanging on by a thread and decides to cast mute on the one character actually using magic spells.
He's gonna. Hopefully he has.
Oh, Benteezy's drowning in echo screens and remedies.
Yeah, I
and
was
the
gonna say he should have plenty.
It's just like, dude, I wanted to heal my team, but the game was just like, nah, I'm gonna be mean.
Final Fantasy Tactics is currently $12 on the Play Store.
$12 on the Play Store. I'd still buy it for $12.
I think I would too. If you like tactical RPGs, Final Fantasy Tactics is a great one. Another game that really does the job system extremely well. Yeah, I would still pick it up. If you're a person who likes playing on the phone, or you have a lot of free time to play mobile, yeah, it's still a good pickup.
Yeah, and for like a JRPG, Tactics has a surprisingly good story.
It really does.
It's basically like War of the Roses, the game, or if you don't know what that is, it's Game of Thrones, the story before Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Yeah, like George R.R. Martin must have played a lot of Tactics in his time because like he deliberately stole characters from that game and changed their names, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, tactical RPG, JRPG. It's from a JRPG series. The battles are tactical. I don't know. We can argue semantics some other time, Mr. Entity, like when I come to your house on Sunday for some Jackbox games.
Making quick work of this. Oh, but he's going to get that Pearl Trigger. He has the same thing that I run into. It's like, of course, I'll do 6,000 damage and then 5,000 off of Pearl Trigger.
Yep.
But hopefully he'll get some better dice rolls. Not looking like it, though.
Yeah. Well, Benteezy is going to fall back on the far less effective but non-elemental Meteo, casting Meteor with Terra,
Getting the Quasar off, too.
Drago, and some dice from Shadow. That will get the girl dead.
Oh, did she drop? I didn't see. Oh, maybe she's still up. She must be going down pretty soon. Can I cast Meteor?
It's hard to tell without the sound effects because you can't hear the noise.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And now we're off the Black Mage's rendition of Dancing Mad too. So gets the triple nines off on her though.
Yeah, the quadruple nines. That's definitely a kill because the girl only has quadruple nines for HP.
Yeah, she drops pretty quickly. And there's the Condemn. It does have the Fenrir up, so he'll be fine for when the Calmness comes around. Just probably doing some basic healing here.
Yeah, just in case gigantic space rocks start raining down upon everyone.
Yeah. That tends to happen. Sometimes Sleep in Front just decides he is going to make your night a living nightmare and then just cast like Meteo after Meteo after Meteo, as we're seeing here. Now, if it's just one, normally it's fine.
Well, the scary thing about Sleep is that once you get his hit points to below a certain threshold, he has a 2 in 3 chance to use Meteo on his turn, and a 2 in 3 chance to counter anything with Meteo on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the Calmness. Only one misses because of the Fenrir, so we are on to final Kefka. I would move my screen to put back on the final Kefka. I'm afraid to. Oh wait, here I can do it. I can do it this way.
I think we'll survive without it.
There we go. I figured it out.
Oh, you actually figured it out.
I know.
Well, look at you go.
I learned how to click a playlist button.
Oh, I'm gonna give it to Gold Star and put it right up on the fridge here.
Nice. I never got gold stars too often, so I'll take them where I can get them.
Nice.
But yep, on to final Kefka. I don't think he's going to be able to push through the Goner phase. I think he is going to have to prepare for that.
The only way Bentisi can avoid a Goner, Shadow doing the God rolls with all the dice.
Yeah, a four quad 9 roll.
Yeah, basically.
A nice 4-pack and just be like, yeah, it was easy peasy lemon squeezy. He is cracking all of his crackables though, so maybe he might be pushing for it. I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, the shields are never going to be useful to you after the final boss, so you have to use them here. Get that damage out there.
Only getting mediocre rolls with his Shadow there.
Yeah. Well, we get a Pearl proc right away off the crit, so that's at least another, like 10k from that one swing. Yep, so we're already into Goner territory here. I mean, you might as well push. If you did that much damage and you're already here, I think you push it. Yeah, you can probably finish it out.
So right about probably the 242-ish, I would imagine, unless he really slows down.
Well, these dice rolls are not inspiring confidence.
Yeah, those aren't help. That's the slowdown, but.
Oh, no, there's a big 7,000 Pearl proc. It's probably over after this attack from Terra. If not, the next time he damages Kefka, it'll do it, so it'll be a 241.
Is gonna get it off though.
Yeah, Goner's gonna go off, but I don't think that's gonna be too much of a worry here. Terra might actually go down from this. No, apparently not. Magic defense way too high for it to matter. Yep.
Yeah, but you should be able to push through this just fine.
Yeah, just commanding the character attack here. I mean, if this dice roll blows up spectacularly, an Ultima counter's not outside the realm of possibility, so let's hope nothing dumb happens.
That's it.
It's over. It's over.
GG's for Bentisi with an official race time of 2:41:13.
2:41:13, yeah. For this seed, that's entirely a good time. That's a little bit. That's a little bit below average so far, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, for this seed, being below average puts you at great pace. So.
Yeah. Bentisi honestly played really great, and just what happened to Bentisi is that he kept not finding the right checks, basically, from getting pasted by all the awful bosses early to the post-Terra phase, where Bentisi checked just about everything else before going to Zozo to pick up Murder Child.
Yeah, there's kind of those two big things I think were really, like you mentioned, the slowdowns there. And we're seeing if we can get Bentisi in for an interview. But yeah, still a very excellent time. And we are actually joined by Bentisi right now. Bentisi, GG's, an excellent time as well.
Sure.
I know you're laughing about that and saying, "Oh, well, I saw for finished 50 minutes ago," but ignore that, and you're comfortably ahead of the average time so far. This was not a pleasant seed for the vast.
Holy moly, that seed was hard.
Yeah, and just finishing this seed can be considered an accomplishment because we've had at least 10 forfeits so far.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, so your time, even though it feels like it was super long, was not. You had a very respectable time that you put up there. And really looking at it, I think the only real reason why Zelfer, you saw the 50-minute difference there, Zelfer kind of really quickly made the check onto the tower to go check that. And then also found Murder Child realm really quickly as well, which kind of puts you on the right track. So I think the first part of the seed is really what probably slowed you down the most. Of you kind of did what most of us did and left Fanatic's Tower off until the very end, before realizing
Yeah,
all the other bosses really sucked.
I didn't want to go there with just Ice 2, and only like I had Ice 2, and it was on Strago and Cyan, who notoriously has low magic. So it
Hmm.
was like I was like, if I go up, if I go all the way up that tower, and it's a boss that isn't weak to Ice 2, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
and,
Thankfully, you
and
got
if I go
lucky.
all the way up the tower, beat the boss, and then die to the dragon, I'm gonna be upset. So,
Yeah, it was kind of a risky play, but unfortunately with this seed, you were kind of locked into having to do that. So, um, but I mean, you still did an excellent time. We were looking at the standings, and now this could just be my knowledge because the community has grown so much. But how long have you actually been racing Worlds Collide?
I started like 2 days before. Like I found out about the randomizer 2 days before the deadline for KGP, and uh, me and Lanxion did like 3 of them like real quick just to see
Hmm.
how it goes, and we really liked it because Final Fantasy VI is one of our favorite games, and so I've been playing for since 2 days before the tournament started.
That is amazing because you've been keeping pretty competitive in the standings I was looking at as well. I mean, not top four, but I mean, even to be in the top 20, the top half, and just starting learning the randomizer that quickly is amazing. So, to all the other new runners, I guess, do you have any advice for new people, either wanting to get into racing this randomizer or just wanting to get into this randomizer in general?
um, as someone who came from Link to the Past randomizer, I got really good at that randomizer really quickly as well, and something that I've realized across multiple randomizer communities that I've played Free Enterprise, I've played Link to the Past, I've played some of the Fire Emblem ones. Something I noticed is that people think because it's randomized that there's no skill involved. And so they think, oh, it's just whether you get the luck of the draw or not. But there are things that are consistent. And obviously, if you watch any of Zelfer's VODs, this will be very apparent. Like, there are things that are consistent from one run to another, and learning to be good at those consistent things is really important for playing well in video games.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, Link to the Past randomizer is a particularly good example of that because, and this comes back to one of my biggest gripes with the Link to the Past randomizer, which I think we were talking about early, is
Hmm.
uh, there's a certain point in Link to the Past randomizer where you have everything you need, and then you're just playing Link to the Past until you finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But as someone who's played a lot of Link to the Past before coming to this, which is as far as the locks and keys of the rando go, much more open. Which kind of format do you prefer? Like I need to find this one thing to finish from Link to the Past, or the Worlds Collide? Well, I need a certain number of keys that could be found anywhere. There's probably multiple paths to get to the end. Like, which one do you like more?
it's okay to say you like both. Don't feel like you have to choose one or the other.
No, I think I like so Link to the Past later on in its life adopted more of a like free form generation in the website. So it allows for you to like toggle now how many crystals and stuff you need, how many places you have to go, whether you even have to beat Ganon's tower, etc. Um, and I think that's very similar to the way we do the requirements in Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
Um, I do prefer generally the Final Fantasy layout, but there have been weeks where people have picked kind of toxic requirements.
I can agree with you. There's been some people. It's like, all right, who hurt you that made you want to pick this flag set? Do you need a
Yeah,
hug?
so um
Well, the way that Fowls' lottery goes is that I think the lower in the standings you are, the more weighted you are to pick the next week's flag. So it might just be like a spiteful thing that's been going on here, but
yeah.
we've had a couple of doozies in the last few weeks for sure.
I
Uh,
really liked Willard's flag set that he picked with the Mughals and all that stuff. That was super fun. I think I didn't get to do any of the practice seats for this one because Friday just kind of crept up on me because it's finals week at school and I'm doing projects and doing homework and stuff, and like so I didn't even realize that today was the day for the restream, so I didn't even get to do any seeds with these flag sets. But I feel like I would have liked it if I had gotten to play it more. Um it seemed really interesting. I really like, as long as like the characters, espers and dragons, are semi evened out, like 7-10-4, 7-7-7, 8-10, like something like that. Like as long as they're semi evened out, I generally like the seed. Because it doesn't feel like you're doing things in vain. So it's like
Yeah.
when no magicite is required, like it feels like if you spend 5-10 minutes doing something and all you get out of it is 2 magicite, you feel really bad. So
Yeah, understandable.
I really like this is one of my favorite games of all time. I really, really, really enjoy the randomizer. It's really fun.
Right
I
on.
wish I wouldn't have died as much as I did. I was so scared that the next character was going to be on floating continent after I died to Magimaster. I was like, no, please, not like
Classy. We're still streaming. Don't put that
Yeah,
stuff up
I
right.
know it accidentally came up, but it's announced. It's something. It's related to something that I want to announce.
Well,
So
we're not done interviewing.
I know. I'm just getting. I'm trying to be prepared.
Okay. Well, I'll keep this brief then because I know we're starting to run out of time. We've got
Yep.
the Free Enterprise Weekly coming up here in about 10 minutes. One more question for you, Ben Teasy. We're asking this to everyone lately. What's your favorite character in Final Fantasy VI Randomizer?
in the randomizer.
In the
It's probably
randomizer.
Celeste. I mean,
Cell.
Celeste is just my favorite character, period.
Okay.
Good solid
My
pick.
first emote when I became an affiliate is actually Terra in Transform holding a heart, even though I had not played Final Fantasy on stream ever. Like, it's just like that. This game has a special place in my heart. But I feel like Celeste is a little too generic looking, so it would have been hard for people to tell that it was a Final Fantasy character
Yeah.
holding a heart. So I went with Terra. But
Very
yeah, I
nice.
love Celeste. I love Runic as a concept. I think it's so cool. I think
Well, Runic is generally one of the more powerful commands in the
Yeah.
randomizer anyway. You can get away with so much when you have the
Yeah.
character. So,
So
yeah.
like if I ever get to pick a flag set, we're all starting with Celeste or Runic.
There you go.
I am completely okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Celes is generally regarded as one of the 3 best characters in the randomizer anyway, so I'd be fine with that. And yeah, we've had a lot of different answers about favorite characters from everyone in interviews, myself, and Classy, and chat tonight. So every
fact,
character has a little bit of love going for them, which is
I've
nice.
played this game dozens and dozens of times throughout my life, and it wasn't until like a year or 2 ago that I realized that she's not wearing pants. I always thought she just had like some tan leggings on or something. Like I never realized it was her skin.
No,
Like
she's,
in 20 years of playing the game.
Funny the things you find out.
she's wearing a leotard because leotards are very, very awesome, I would say.
They're the standard uniform of Magitech Knights, of course.
Exactly. Yeah, it shows much skin as possible. That increases your defense.
Just because there's one Magitech Knight doesn't mean it's not standard issue, okay?
Right on. Well, any final thoughts for us on the race, Ben Teasy, before we pass it over to Badger for a quick announcement before we finish things up here?
I'm happy that I beat Locke's time in at least 1 week of the randomizer. So that he's named after the game. He's been playing it for months. He's one of my good friends. I'm glad I was able to put him in the dumpster 1 week, even if I wind up not being able to even come close in any of the remaining weeks.
Hey, sometimes just finishing ahead of your buddy is more important than winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Ben Teasy, thanks for putting on a very fun show for us tonight. And I'll turn it over to you, Classy, before we finish up the broadcast here.
Yep. So again, thank you everybody so much for watching tonight. If you're interested in the randomizer or joining the community, there is the command !FF6WC to get our Discord link and to get to the actual website where you can generate seeds. Again, thank you to our runners tonight, both Ben Teasy and Zelfer, to our technically I'm the restreamer tonight, to my co-commentator Jack, and to Enter Tracker. But the announcement I did want to make is on the randomizer Randomania stream. Game Boy Fan is putting together a charity event called the Tournament of Hope. It is going to be a bunch of mini tournaments for a bunch of different randomizers across all types of games. Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide is one of them that's going to be in it. I believe Dragon Warrior is in there. Free Enterprise is in there as well, and a bunch of others. So people can enter if you have a community that you're part of and you want to join these mini tournaments that they are putting together. you can always reach out to Game Boy Fan. I'm sure he has a link to the submission form. But all the proceeds of this will be going to the Bail Project. So it is going to a great charity. Yeah, so keep your eye out for that. I don't have the exact dates for it right up at this time, but it is going to be something coming up where you'll see all these great randomizers. So keep your eye out for that. Thank you again, Jack, for joining me on the commentary. It's fun as always.
Let's go, Bruins!
All right, have a good night, everybody, and we will see you next Wednesday. Thank you.